stop talking about him.
57.
Quick, stop talking about him.
Like,
Oh yeah, he almost caught the.
just a
he
little less ribbing. I'm
Is there a show notes for tonight?
taking a break from studying and
No,
filing.
what I'm doing is basically I pulled up discussing films, like track of the tweets, because it does go in a great order of what happened when. So
if you could drop a link to that for me.
I will do it. You're just gonna have to you're gonna have to scroll down a bit.
You're gonna have to scroll down.
Your mom.
Wow, here we go.
I mean,
We're
What did I come into here? I thought this was going
A
to be
lot of hate and anger.
That's how we do
I'm
it
a
over at
happy
Marvel.
camper. I'm happy.
Impossible. How can you not like fucking Winter Soldier was like, okay, that's it. I don't need to see anymore. I don't.
Okay,
I
we
don't
are.
nothing else.
We're live now, so we will
Okay.
be doing the intros in just a second here. I'll share the tweet.
Did you just send me a link to discussing film period?
That's all I got. It's the Twitter feed. That's what I'm going off
Okay,
of.
hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me help you.
Just
out.
go to
Let me-
BD
Okay.
from Cinema Bland. Go to BD from Cinema Bland.
No, BD doesn't have what I need.
Okay, so we're live. We're good to go.
I'm gonna drop you something that's a little hard to read, but probably will help you out
Okay, thank you, Brent.
if it'll open. If not, I need to figure out how to save it.
Came out.
So try that.
Grade 5 suspension.
Oh, good lord!
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Took
Nice.
that from a different Marvel podcast Discord that I'm a member of.
All right. It's something we can go to in case we forget anything, because there was a ton.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
57. I'm sending it to you.
Like you don't remember everything, Brand.
For the record, I was like, I was all up at Costco and Target and driving home, and when I'm on the highway when Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer comes on, so I really
Oh
didn't
my
get to see
God.
it till later. But when the Loki trailer came on, I'm in my neighborhood, and I said, "Sorry, kid, we're gonna pull over for a minute. I gotta watch it." And we did. And then I drove like 100 more feet and said, "Wait, you gotta watch this one too." And then What If. Oh, really? I did make her wait for What If, but she didn't like that idea. So
Sarah, you said you haven't seen this shirt in years. I know. It's a go-to, especially when I'm bald. I got to rock it. You know, it's the go-to. Okay.
If you don't end this with spear together and chugging it, like it's not even chugging it. He doesn't even chug it. Just let it drop. That's kind of what Stone Cold does. So smash your beer together and
What?
oh, hey, we're already live.
Yeah.
What?
All right. Are we ready to begin, or are we doing the WWE chat?
Travis, did you forget that Stone Cold's big thing was
okay,
saying what?
I get it now.
Yeah.
Yes. It took me like a solid. I was so annoying.
He's
He
been
took a
trying to
solid,
study.
got it.
Okay,
All
Chris, we're ready.
Ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From comics, TV, and movies, we will go from the Mojo of Earth to Earth 616 to the Negative Zone to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. My name is the Uncanny Chris.
I'm the podcaster of mischief, Travis Snell.
I am the actual friendly neighborhood Brent.
and
So are
Travis not going to
your
give
made up
nickname.
names now?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
57, Bone, whatever Greg makes up tomorrow.
57.
Alliance assembled.
Assemble. Boom.
Assemble.
Woo.
Eventually.
Wow. That's all I got to say right now of how I'm doing tonight. After every single bombshell that was dropped on this investors call and every single confirmation we've been waiting to hear from and then some. But yeah, Travis, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm very happy because in our group chat we were talking about that it was a busy day at Disney, and there's gonna be other podcasts will break it down. It's gonna be on Geekverse, Stars Alliance. So look out the next feeds for the next few days. You're gonna get lots of content from this investors call. But I was worried when Marvel was going last because Star Wars killed it today. They like, and even like Pixar killed it too. Like they all just did a great job. So I was like, they got to do something really good here. And I was worried that because there had been so many leaks and reports and stuff like that, that we were going to have lots of stuff already spoiled and I'd be like, oh, cool, that's confirmed. But we had a lot of that. But then I think we had some other stuff given to us, but I think the big thing too is the trailers, that we got trailers and dates. That's the biggest thing too. Actual official dates for these projects. No more when's this coming out, when's this coming out. Yeah, I think they knocked it the park, and I'm very excited to talk about everything today. But I'm ecstatic. It was a great day to be a fan of all this geek stuff. So
great, and we got 2 guests joining us. Who wants to go first? Who wants to introduce themselves?
Seniority. So bring it.
Wait, I have seniority? You're on the network.
On this show,
he just demoted himself.
On this show, you have seniority, sir. I've only one appearance on this show.
I don't know how that works.
5.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and count. Yeah. So I didn't get to watch everything, like truly watch everything live, but I listened to most of it. And I mean, you knew they were going to say some stuff that we already knew, right? The whole, we can now officially confirm that, oh, we have a She-Hulk casting, news to all of us, right? We had no idea about that. But some of this stuff really was news to all of us. Like, we really had no idea. And my mind was blown several times. Once I was out running errands. Once I got home and I was still listening to it, multiple times in like 5 minutes, I ran to the room my wife was in to show her something on the screen. I'm like, you're going to like this. Check this out. So no, this was fantastic. And I wasn't really worried about what they would show being after Star Wars. I agree. Star Wars just killed it, at least from what I saw. And I only caught what I'm guessing was half of theirs, but they showed so much more at Marvel than I expected. So much more. Oh my gosh. So I don't even know what the highlight is for me. I think I know, but I don't even know. There's so many things that I'm like, this could be my highlight of the whole event. And I probably got like 4 things like that.
And some of the gems he dropped were just like so quick, you almost missed them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and our illustrious network host and co-host of many shows.
Yeah, sometimes too many, but yeah, I was blown away by this, and I'm not gonna lie. I was studying while the Star Wars stuff was going on, and my phone was going bzz, 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 bzz,
You're welcome.
From chat. Chris was keeping me informed, and when I seen everything that was dropped for Star Wars, I was like, oh my god, Marvel must be like going to, because they would not leave it for last if they didn't think it was better than what Star Wars had, in all honesty. So I was kind of jacked up, and then when the trailer started coming, holy crap! After Falcon and Winter Soldier, I didn't need to see anything else because that's the one I'm most like excited for. But when I saw Loki, like, I can't wait to even hear your thoughts, because I didn't even know, I'm not as big into Marvel, so I don't even know what TVA is. But give me all the Owen Wilson acting every time. I think he's phenomenal, and it just got me right into the Loki show. Just that.
It's a lot. So we're gonna have a very interesting show tonight. So you got something?
Yeah, before you go,
okay,
we are part of Geek All
Oh,
Night.
yes.
Check out, we'll
Those
just do the
plugs.
quick abbreviated version, 7 days a week, over 10 shows. You know what I'll do is go down to the description. I think what we're going to start doing is the entire schedule from Monday to Sunday is going to be down there. So you have everything: Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Power Rangers, Slice of Film, Weird Science presenting you Marvel and DC Comics. You got World's Finest True Believers. You got just a whole superheroes discussions, which is, I can't wait for drop tomorrow, because who knows what bad takes Greg has now. I'm just joking, Greg. We all love you, but come on.
Really
man.
shouldn't have started him on Superman first. That was my mistake. I'll take a hit for that. But when he gets to Justice League, he'll understand how good the animated universe is.
And then, yes, go to our Patreon. You can support us at the $1 tier. If not the $5 tier, get early, ad-free, and exclusive episodes. Next week, we're recording our next Amalgam Chats, which is another rankings episode. And, this is a big one, so I'll announce we're going to rank every single Star Wars film, and I'm sure it won't be controversial at all. So that's what we're going to be doing. That'll be a Patreon exclusive. But, yeah, Chris, let's get into this. Let's start where did we start? We started with Kevin Feige running Pete Docter off stage.
Well, we can go a little bit before that, because we had some news even before this. Rumor mill has Charlie Cox is coming back to the MCU, and he is going to be having a cameo role in Spider-Man 3, Home Invasion. Dude, where's my home? Where's my multiverse home? Who knows?
Can't go home again.
Can't go home again.
Yeah. I love it. I hope we talked about this a few days ago when we recorded Marvel Alliance 28. This is 28.5, that I thought with all that stuff anything's kind of in play now with how much stuff, because I always knew Toby and Andrew were in play, but when they're like, yeah, Emma Stone and Kirsten Dunst and now Alfred Molina, so I'm not surprised now. But if you would ask me even a few weeks ago, it's still one that I really want to see happen, because Toby and Andrew, I feel, they could come up and it's a swan song, then they'd be done. I feel like if you show a Charlie Cox Daredevil, that means he's here for more than just that. Where Toby and Andrew, maybe they'll come back, maybe they'll do something, but Charlie Cox, to me, that's a stamp of approval of, hey, you're going to see this. And we'll talk about today, but I think Feige probably already alluded where we could see, certain heroes pop out, which we had talked about. So I do believe this also because, yes, it is Murphy's multiverse. It is a smaller one, but from this press conference, he got a lot confirmed, and lately he's been on a roll. That whole team's been on a roll. So that's why you always got to follow what they do and see their track record, and they've had a good track record lately. We have heard that most of these roles are going to be cameos, but I still think they're going to be glorified cameos. I don't think it's going to be like a pop on screen wave and by. I think like Civil War, maybe a little bit less. And I said this in the chat, but Nick Fury started as a cameo. That doesn't mean we don't see more of Cox. That doesn't mean we don't see more of Toby and Andrew. If this works, I think they would go down that well again. So,
well, that says to me again, like when we said, even if they're cameos, they're substantial enough that they're not just going to waste their time coming in, especially Charlie Cox. He's gone on record that he really loves this character. He wants to come back on. So there is more to this than just a cameo. As Multiverse, Daniel RPK, Illuminati, a lot of these blogs have been saying from their sources, and even Murphy said, like, this deal with Charlie Cox has been done for months. And now they can finally confirm it. So, I mean, I'm excited. Brent, Travis, I know you all are excited for Charlie even coming back in.
Oh, yes. You need to remember when these scoopers get these scoops, sometimes, and usually they're behind. They're behind. So, yeah, this stuff probably has been, signed off on and in the books for months, but they just had to wait before anything could come of it for the 2 years. You know what? Maybe Charlie Cox is going to be just a cameo in Daredevil, just a cameo on probably a Disney Plus show. But they're not going to go through I don't feel like the effort of bringing him in and what that ultimately means. And, like responding to the Saves Daredevil movement that way, if they don't have bigger plans for him. So it's not like we're only going to see him one time for 5 minutes and that's it. No, okay. Yes, you're right. Murphy and the team over there is not, this isn't one of the trades. It's not Hollywood Reporter. It's not Variety. So those are the ones I say you can take to the bank. But I tell you, Murphy has been on fire. Like their team over there, they've gotten so much stuff right lately. And so while I'm not it's not like I'm going to bet my house on it, I'm inclined to believe this. I'm definitely inclined to believe this. And he's, I mean, at least when it comes to Marvel stuff, if he tells me something, I'm probably going to think it's true.
And his analysis of stuff is he is a true believer.
Brent, you just hit the nail on the head there. He definitely has some source in Marvel or on the Marvel side, because he's been money, like you said, and it's gone a long way to elevate his credibility for me, even in my opinion. So, and while the Daredevil thing, I'm super excited. And I think that if we don't have any deals for the other, or we don't hear anything about the other ones, it's clear that this is basically the character from the Marvel Netflix that they want to take and go forward. And I have a couple questions for you guys. One is, do you think they'll switch the costume to something more old style, like give him something out to differentiate himself from the Netflix shows? Like, you still got the actor, everyone knows, and if he's wearing that kind of Daredevil costume, then you still know that it's Daredevil. But do you think they'll take exactly the same way he was, everything about him, or will they try to do some little switches?
I think a new costume, because I think even though Andrew and Toby will be playing Spider-Man from their universes, I think there's a chance with Charlie Cox they do the J.K. Simmons thing of, you're Daredevil, you're Matt Murdock, but we're going to forget everything about you elsewhere for now. And because I could see him being, for the first little bit, Hulk, where he is appearing in other movies and shows, but he doesn't have his own thing yet, and just to establish him as their Daredevil. And I think that comes with a new costume. I don't know if it'll go as classic as that one on your cup, but like kind of what he's rocking right now in the current comic book run, I could see that, which is not too far off from the Netflix one, but a bit more sleeker, a bit more, I'd say, comic booky. So I think even if he's playing Daredevil from the Netflix universe, I think if he's in costume, we will see at least some difference. It won't be the exact same copy from the Netflix one. That's my thoughts.
Well, I mean, we left him without a costume, with what
That's
happened
true.
at the end of the third. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an easy way to justify a new costume.
Super easy. It's set up.
He also, though, he should have got the guy to make a couple costumes. Like, really just having the one costume was a terrible decision on his part,
Well, Matt Murdock isn't always known for making the best decisions
What?
to help himself out.
In many
But
ways.
I think I predict they're going to go the J.K. Simmons route.
Mhm.
Same actor, same character, different interpretation, opportunity for a new costume. Maybe for a new costume that they'll actually let him wear for an extended period of time. How about that?
Oh, yellow. Let's go yellow. Let's really go deep cut.
No black costume, right, Brent? No black costume.
Not the ninja one, but
Yeah.
his red and black costume when
That's
he was
cool.
trying to pretend he was someone else. That costume was always awesome.
Mhm.
So I'd be all right with that. Even the yellow one, whatever. Just give me a costume.
I'd be down for it. We gotta have another conversation, Brent, because I feel like from me listening to fans, I feel like you really dislike when people aren't in their costumes. I've understood this now. You were talking about this on Titans. You're talking about this here.
Oh
I've
God,
heard
Titans.
you have other problems with the movie Joker, but that was one I heard you also shout out like, oh, he's only has this makeup on for like 5 minutes. So like, this is a big thing.
Was
for
it
you.
that long? Okay. Titans was just blasphemy because they've got some of the best costumes in the business. They are so good at it. Yeah, it's just I don't like it when it was fine for Smallville. It was fine for Smallville to shy away from some of the more comic booky elements when that was all we had. Oh, I'm sorry. We also had Birds of Prey during that time. That was all we had. We aren't that way anymore. We have all these costumed heroes. I see, the Flash in costume for 20 some odd episodes every year, but Daredevil, they don't put him in the costume till the very end of season 1. He's in it for season 2, and they literally make the costume the bad guy in season 3. Just go into it. Come on, guys, just go into it. Still, Daredevil's still like, sorry, Travis, probably the best individual comic TV show there is, but
I
the
agree.
costumes.
I agree.
The costumes. Yeah, I want costumes. So yeah, I want to see Wolverine in his costume, preferably yellow and blue, but I'll take any of them. I want to see these characters in their actual costumes. It doesn't even have to be my favorite version of the just pick a costume.
So you don't want to see the character open up the briefcase of their costume at the end of the movie in like a post-credit scene, never to be paid off ever in the history of time.
Such a tease.
That would
Such
rub
a
you the
good
wrong way.
suit too. It looked so great.
It was
did
the
look
brown suit.
Okay,
It was
and
awesome.
Here's
it
a
looked
mini-
good in a suitcase. I don't know how practical it would have been out, but they could have done it. That's all they did is prove they could have done it.
And here's the thing, just a quick mini rant. I hate how Days of Future Past started in like the future when he was wearing a costume. You easily could have just had that moment where he wore the costume just for that scene. And then when he goes back in the past, like, oh, that's why he doesn't have the costume, blah, blah, blah. But even for the opening, he could have had it all. It's battle gear. No, they just threw it aside. You guys butchered
Missed
James Mangold's
opportunity.
film.
But don't worry,
Yeah.
that we got good costumes at the end of X-Men Apocalypse. Oh, never mind. They
Oh,
didn't-
that's right.
Don't
Let's
even
talk-
get started about
Let's-
Mystique and the
Let's talk about some
phone-in.
positive stuff.
Yes.
So what else happened? Or how did this start? Or go ahead. I don't know where we're going.
Well, like we said, we wanted to at least talk about the Daredevil, at least to get it out there. And really quick, Rachel McAdams is coming back to Doctor Strange, despite a lot of rumors saying that she wasn't. Hopefully her role is going to be much bigger, or at least better, in the sense of using her character. I'm not sure how they can with where they're going with it, but let's keep our fingers crossed. She's too good of an
Supreme.
too good of an actress to be just put on the sidelines. So, but all right, investors call. So this is definitely going to be different for those of you who are just listening on audio, because we're going to be watching the trailers and giving kind of our live reactions there. I believe 4 legit trailers with a sizzle kind of looking behind the scenes of Miss Marvel. But we started off with WandaVision, a new trailer for WandaVision, which is set to premiere January 15th. That is confirmed. That's been confirmed for a while. Give me it now. Should have happened already. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah,
You all continue to talk and as I set this up.
It just was, all these trailers looked great, but they all did something different, what I like. And they've leaned on how much they've been talking about this is a weird show. It's a different type of show. That's exactly the teasers we've seen, that the poster we've seen that, but this trailer specifically, I love the music. But what I like is We even got more of the real world, something's wrong and breaking. And again, what I like is because I feel Mandalorian season 1, the budget was very good, but there was times where like a little lacking here. Season 2, 99.9%, other than the shot of like one vomit monster, has looked fantastic. And I'd say about all these as far as the budget on these, they look great. Especially we'll get to Falcon Winter Soldier because Feige literally said we made this as a movie. It's a 6-hour movie. He literally is just stealing the Zack Snyder Justice League thing of just like we made a movie and we made it in 4 parts.
You can't say that.
But no,
well, we just lost a whole bunch of viewers. Goodbye, everyone.
Those man babies can go.
But you steal what works because I'll save that for after. But either way, this trailer, just on base thoughts before we break down it looked great. And I just think, again, I think people are very hungry for MCU because it's been over a year since we've gotten any MCU content. And we talked about this before. That trailer, the numbers it did for WandaVision even shocked me. The fact that it got up to like Infinity War numbers, that's crazy. I think that just shows how many people are missing kind of this universe. And
they're so brand, Snell. This is a brand.
Yeah, and they're used to getting it 3 times a year, right? And they've not gotten it for a year and a half. They're addicts.
Oh yeah. So I've got it queued up. Y'all see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not gonna hear sound, but you're definitely gonna so let me know if you want me to pause at a moment or we can just play all the way through and just do reactions.
Sounds good.
All right. So here we go. The second, probably final trailer for WandaVision.
I hope.
Final
if we
one
have,
I want to see.
Yeah. If we have sound on, Kevin Feige will pull away Geek versus funding, so we can't do that.
We got
so
Agnes.
we have well, potentially, not confirmed, Chris, don't but so this is just them setting up like, hey, they're living their kind of 60s I Love Lucy sitcom life, talking about we're on the in the beds to get something's gonna happen. I guarantee that's the night they make that baby.
That's right.
And then as we've heard, it's showing like so pause kind of here, just in general, that was like it's showing the transition to literally I think that's how the first episode could end, is just the transition into another era, another sitcom, and it's it's gonna be weird just even seeing Vision in the sweater.
It's gonna go from black and white to color right away, isn't it? It's gonna go like the end of the first episode will probably be in color.
I think so, yeah. And that's them, clearly the baby, she's pregnant there, and the neighbor that we heard about. So all just set up now. Here's the big thing. And so this is Monica Rambeau. She was the little girl in Captain Marvel. She's all grown up. She becomes a superhero of her own. It's interesting because
and confirmed for Captain Marvel 2.
Yes, it's very interesting because in the scene that's about to play out, she comes in and she's like, she doesn't know where she is. And I don't know if that's her playing along, because we've had this theory that maybe she's like a spy sword or someone sends in to kind of find out what's going on, or if literally Wanda's kind of like.
So we got a lot of glitching.
Yeah, and I think this is her just slowly more and more losing her sense of reality.
So that's the key thing. Who's doing this to you?
Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting as far as like you see the barrier she's built up, again, multiple eras and stuff like that. And then this was what I found interesting is them breaking into the real world here, because clearly even Wanda and Vision realize, like Vision has a line where he says, like, they have some line where it's like, oh, we create this world, but it's our home. So it almost seems like they're going to choose just to try and live in this fake reality and whatnot. But Travis, you had your hand up there.
Was the agent running away? Was he an Ant-Man?
Yes.
The second Ant-Man. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I love stuff like that. That just.
We see a better view of Darcy.
Mm-hmm. And then Chris, do you want to go back to the what was going on with a certain stone there? Because this has been the biggest conversation point, or one of them, as far as Vision coming back. What is happening? Because he has a stone. So is this her physically somehow rebuilding a stone? Is this like, and she's not looking good, in my opinion here. Like, she's looking good, but she's not like she's looking messed up. She's looking almost like Requiem for a Dream. Like, she's looking tired. And I just wonder where this is in the series. It's very interesting, but I think overall it's a very intriguing trailer. And I think they've done that with all their marketing very well.
Yeah, I mean, remember I'd said a couple of episodes back in Marvel Alliance that the Mind Stone, the stone itself, was gone before we've seen it, but the energy was still out there. The energy has to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Brent, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
I love the way they take like the format, the resolution, the screen ratio, and change it as you start in that black and white 4:3, and as you go on to color and stuff, you go more widescreen. And yeah, like right there, you're more squared off with the black and white, and then it's slowly expanding as the trailer progresses. The Mind Stone, it's like with her connection to the Mind Stone, with what I think we're going to find out, whereas more the Mind Stone just unlocked her powers versus giving them her powers. I wonder if she's like trying to reform it there, like literally reform it, not just in her head, but actually reform it.
Yes.
I'm still wanting to know if Vision realizes like it's not the same Mind Stone that he had. Like, even if she's able to reform it, it's not going to be identical. And so, like I said, January 15th can't get here soon enough. I'm so ready for this show. And like actually seeing the footage, I love the music they're putting with it. That shot of the Mind Stone, it's so good. Such a good shot. This kicks off like the track that we know Spider-Man is on and Doctor Strange is on and ultimately Loki and stuff. Very excited to see where this is going to go and what the new first part of Phase 4 is going to tease out.
There's a question I have about this in general. If all this, are we going to call it magic? What are we calling her powers here? Are we going to, like, can I say magic? Am I completely
chaos
off base?
magic is what
Mutant
it's called.
abilities.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, because it's definitely a mix.
So if this stuff was going on, and we remember from Thor 3 that immediately when Loki showed up on Earth and Thor, Doctor Strange knew immediately and like was tried to deal with it. So that's what I'm assuming here. Like, is eventually he has to like kind of figure out what's going on, doesn't he? Like, that's kind of what I'm assuming is going to happen, and that's how he intervenes. But I don't know. I thought I heard that he was rumored to be in the show. Am I wrong about that?
I think
I
those
haven't
just
heard any of
rumors.
those.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around? Or why?
The other way around. She's confirmed to be in the movie.
That's what it was.
I think there's a chance that they're going to show that she's so powerful that even he can't sense what's going on with this bubble she's created, or because they've done this in MCU before, there's a chance Spider-Man 3 is happening at the same time as this. So maybe that's why he can't even deal with it, because he's dealing with, Toby, Andrew, lots of things going on. So I think she's powerful enough, because like I said, that line that I'm just sensing when she said, "This is our home," I think she knows that like maybe she doesn't know in that moment, but I feel like she's created this world, and now maybe she does just want to live in it with Vision because she's happy there. So that's going to create a lot of power if she's conjured up this entire like little pocket universe. So I think something, or even maybe he doesn't even know till like the shields are broken down, till someone comes out. I don't know. I think definitely he will intersect, and I think that's been the big question is it those two together fighting something, or is it, I've speculated this before, is Wanda kind of the antagonist in Doctor Strange? Is she somehow villain, but in like not the villain way, I'm going to destroy the world, but she's gone off kilter, or maybe
Kind of
someone
like
else.
Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not really a villain, but the antagonist.
Or can't control her powers anymore, like kind of like Phoenix Force type.
Well, that's how I feel about her at the end. She's looking scary. She's not looking like she's all together. So that's why I feel like, and I hate to say this, Brent, but again, we had those Mephisto rumors with Evan Peters. We will know in a few more months, but if Mephisto is involved, that could easily be some sort of him twisting her to become a certain thing.
Well, here's the other thing too, in House of M, we get, her not being able to break when the kids are gone. Like, she doesn't have the kids. So instead of we haven't seen an image of the kids. We know she's pregnant. So at one point she's going to quote unquote have the kids. Instead of just the kids being taken away from her, it's her entire reality that's going to be taken away from her pocket universe that will possibly make her snap.
It's happening.
Side note: usually when someone says, "I hate to say this," they're not smiling ear to ear when they're saying it. Just
Oh, he loved to say it. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
As I was doing this the entire time.
So any final thoughts before we start moving on to the next things with WandaVision?
Can't wait. I'm just so excited to see the first MCU show. Yeah, finally. It's the first of its kind. I love, like I said, the budget. I think it's going to be a very water cooler type of show that every week it's going to end and people are going to be like, what's going on? Very much like a Lost or something like that. So I trust them with this one.
Oh, yeah. So a few more things before we get to our next trailer. Xochitl Gomez has been officially confirmed as America Chavez in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So that's been a rumor for a little while. Kevin Feige also revealed that Spider-Man 3 will explore the multiverse. So all these rumors of former
He technically
Spidey.
just said it will connect to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Gotcha.
He didn't technically say
go.
multiverse.
True. We'll do that. I will insinuate and read between the lines.
Here's my question, because there's a few questions we didn't get to in MA, one of them being yours, Brent, and we'll get to that next week, I promise you. But one question was the marketing of these two. I think that's a big question of, are the trailers, hey, this is a big Spider-Man adventure, you got all these people back, or is it's Tom Holland's venture and we're keeping those till you see the movie? That's my question. That's what I thought about today, but I don't.
That would be stupid.
Yeah. I think it would be, but it's the thing of like, now it's out. I think if it wasn't out, they could have tried to pull it off, but now that it's out, I feel like you just lean in and do those movies, unless they are legitimately very small roles. Like if they are small roles, then maybe that's why they don't preview it. But I feel like we're going to, I am the camp that I think you'll get an EW cover with all three of them together, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
You better. I mean, it would be absolute foolishness not to do that. If you get all three of these Spider-Men together and you don't market that'd be like the discussion we were having in our chat the other day about not marketing Spider-Man for Captain America Civil War. It's just bad business. As a fan, yes, that'd be amazing and would blow my mind. But to the nostalgia factor, to get in those people who like the Tobey Maguire movies, to get in those people who like the Garfield movies, to bring them in, it would just be horrible move not to market that.
But Brent, they also have to be smart, because people are talking about like this movie and the Flash movie, and like there's been one already, and it's not been a movie, but you know it and I know it. Crisis on Infinite Earths for the CW is a very small version of this, but it was a multiverse. But they did have some troubles in the marketing, because they kind of marketed people like Tom Welling coming back and Brandon Routh and others. Kind of made it seem like it was going to be a bit bigger of a deal. I know people were speculating everything about, and if they would have went and squashed that, like they showed Brandon Routh so much, and in reality he had about 10 minutes, and then they kind of jokingly cut him out for Lex Luthor. In I don't know anyone who would have preferred, who wouldn't have wanted Routh to be in the final episode as well. Just they just gotta be safe, because
sure,
if they have like Daredevil there, they can't market Daredevil like push fast, and then you only have him for a minute and a half. Like people will feel like you got their expectations up for something. And I know you make your own expectations like I did, but you still have to like manage every one of these cameos, or you're going to have a cameo fest. Like essentially that's what Crisis on Infinite Earth was for me. It was more a cameo fest than a story. And that's what I want, the Spider-Man story. I want all the cameos. I wish this could be 6 hours like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But they just have to be careful, in my opinion, just because I was burned for a few Crisis news drops and stuff like that. So
I agree. I think if they show them in marketing, they have to show them the exact same way they did Spider-Man in Civil War. Just a scene and that's it. Don't make it seem like these guys are, unless it is, but all we've heard from reports is it's not Spider-Verse. It's more a version of Crisis. It does sound like where he could be multiple universe, multiple people. And I think, yeah, sure, you could have them on a poster, but I think I am with Trez that I think they will, but they have to be, you don't want to overpromise. Just literally just promise that you will see them in this movie, and that's about it, unless it's bigger than that. And I think that that's the only way that, let's say they legitimately only did have one scene, then I could see them not marketing it. But I think they just kind of have to, just because, especially if this is something we don't know. We'll talk about this in a little bit with Black Widow, but like if they do still plan on we're going to make a theatrical run, it will be a little tougher to get people in the theaters even at that point. So I think they'll want like that as like a MacGuffin, be like, well, look, if you come to theaters, you can see the three Spider-Men together, you know?
I do have another Spider-Man question, but we should save it till we get to that point, because it's from the stuff tonight.
Okay.
So, sure. But there are questions from tonight, I think, about Spider-Man. I have one very big one.
Look forward to that. On it. Well, next one we have what a lot of us. This was supposed to be the very first one starting off for Disney Plus, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Kevin Feige must hear some stuff. This releases on my birthday, March 19th. So I'm going to have an even better birthday at this point.
March 19th is the day? That's something I missed. Great.
March
to me.
Yep.
Before you started, I thought there was rumors that had to line up with Black Widow, and that's why it wasn't released. Yes. So that's
why they're called rumors.
That's what I want to talk about. Well, because they are rumors, but this is the thing they have. Well, they didn't confirm here, but Deadline. So they put out a report confirming some casting and whatnot. A lot of those castings got confirmed today. And before you hit play on that, Chris?
Yep. I'm just setting it up.
Okay, just making sure. They said Deadline said that Yelena was going to be in the show, and that's thing where if she's just a post-credit scene, she's a character from Black Widow, then fine. Then it's like, oh, you can go catch her in Black Widow. But if she's an actual character, has a couple roles, that's where it is interesting now. But I did say that I wonder if they found a way, if it was that before you had to go after, if they just said, you know what, let's see what's going to happen. Just put it, because at the end of the day, Black Widow's a prequel. It doesn't really matter if you do show Yelena. You're just going to see her story elsewhere. We already know she's alive if you've come out and said she's cast. So I was surprised that we got a date on it. I'm very happy because literally January is WandaVision. They haven't said, but that's somewhere between 6 to 9 episodes. So that's going to end. You're going to have a couple weeks maybe, and then Falcon Winter Soldier will be right up and running. So it's a good 1-2 punch, and I'm very excited we got a date, and it's exciting that and I guess we'll see once we watch it, see if they change some stuff. But yeah, it's officially before Black Widow now, so that's exciting.
If WandaVision is 6 episodes, there will be exactly a month between that and Falcon and Winter Soldier. That feels pretty damn good.
Wait.
Perfect.
All right, we all ready to re-witness this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
when this scene right here at the start came up, I thought they were doing one of their static image nonsense where they don't let everyone see the trailer. I was like, no.
Oh yeah, that was so bad. All right, here we go.
But yeah, so it's just showing off the legacy of Captain
Really
America.
milking Cap for get more people to sign up too.
Oh yeah, 100%. And at first here when he was talking, I thought it was literally just him talking about Captain America, the character. But then it's like, oh no, we're in the actual show here. We got Bucky Barnes, who's rocking some short hair, very important.
Mhm.
That's
Character
right.
change. He's going through some stuff. But this to me is the one that did, they all looked good. They all looked high budget, but this poor actress playing another masked character again. She was from Solo. If you remember, she's, what is her name? What are those pirates called in Solo?
They kind of look like Captain America masks a little bit.
These masks?
Yeah, a little tiny bit. Not the painting, but just
Yeah.
the mask style.
The mask, yeah, this March. But this just looked great. As far as filming wise, cinematography,
Mhm.
style, budget. We see Falcon's we've seen his new suit before, but we're seeing it shown off again. But it just, I love that fight he's describing as that a
Zemo.
6-hour movie.
So has he retired like
agent?
Falcon? Post because he doesn't seem to be active. It seems more like he was given the suitcase and now he's active. I know I'm probably misconstruing from the trailer, but
Well, I think what they're gonna do here, and we're getting some good action movies. Now, this was very important because nice tribute here to Winter Soldier as far as Cap jumping out and just kind of oh, whatever, I'm just gonna go. So that was great. And then you just get some just fantastic action right here. And I think this is gonna fill the exact void that Winter Soldier had. A spy thriller, but also a Bourne legacy, Bourne, identity that sort of action spy thriller. But I think Travis with that is because I think he plans to be Captain America, and what's going to happen, the government right away is going to shut him down, say you're not Cap, and he's maybe going to consider himself semi-retired, because we've seen it a few times, but America has appointed a new Captain America, and then you just get some classic Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes back and forth, and these two are going to be great together. They already are, but it's going to be a whole 6 hours of this. Sign me up, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that scene in Civil War when they're in their car waiting on Steve and Sharon. And could you move your seat up? No.
they're essentially
6 hours of that.
they're essentially Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as characters.
They do have very believable chemistry.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, if you look at that, and we'll get into later, because actually, does Black Widow come up next, Chris? That's what he talks about, right? Feige, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. So,
Yeah,
does anyone want to, before I exit out, anyone want to talk about any particular scenes before I exit out of it?
Do you
No,
think
in general, I just want to say this is the Phase 4 project that doesn't have Spider in the name. I'm the most excited for. So I was really, really happy to find out that we only have to wait till March, because I was starting to believe the rumors that there's probably a Black Widow tie-in, and we're probably going to be waiting until at least May. Turns out we are getting a show in May. It's just not this one, but this looks good. Once we get rolling here, the next few months are going to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
all the content?
Fanboy Clay says no U.S. agent footage, and that's what's very interesting because they keep hiding.
There was
one.
There
shot
was.
of
He
him.
went out
Him
on
just
the field.
running though, right?
Yeah,
But I still
And
think
it's a footage we've seen before too.
yeah,
Yes, it is.
but they're still not showing his face. So why I think they're doing that is I think the mainstream people that are not listening to this podcast watch and they say, why is Captain America there? Is that Chris Evans? I think it's their way to trick, and I think it's also hiding that twist of the government is going to say this guy is Captain America now. I think for us that listen to this podcast, looking at news sources, we know the Thai's U.S. agent. My mom's not going to know this whole U.S. agent storyline, so I think she would see that and go, "Oh, is he in the show, Chris Evans? That's interesting." So I think that's why you're not seeing much. I think that's going to be a huge kind of not plot twist, but a plot mover, and they want to save that.
It's kind of a callback to the first Captain America as well, but like way bigger in our age. But that's what they did with Captain America. Chris Evans first too was just trotting him out to these bit like these little things to promote the army rather than do missions. But I assume where the government is a lot more nefarious these days, I would assume they have him running some side missions and some Black Ops type stuff. So I just can't wait. Oh my God.
It's going to be good.
And this is the thing, we had talked about this before with Brent last time you were on, and right now, so this is not talking about everything they did in the panel today, but they did announce that Pixar movie, that Raya the Last Dragon, is doing premiere access again. So they're trying that. And while we were talking, Bob Chapek actually put out a statement saying this Raya the Last Dragon is going to be a determination as far as, is this a way to go in a post-COVID world? So it seems like they're using this Raya the Last Dragon in March as one more test to see. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a movie not many people know about. I would have thought they should have done that with Soul. I put this in our GUA chat. I don't know why Soul is just a free release and Raya the Last Dragon is not. It's very peculiar. I feel like Soul right now has the hotter hand. It's more talked about. So I feel like, again, this is like, I feel like Black Widow has to be the test. If they really want to test this premiere access and people can, have your opinions on it about whatnot, if they do the Warner Brother route, but if they really want to say, hey, we want you to spend the $30 and then you can get it, I feel, again, Raya is not the way to go. I feel like that's even lower than Mulan. I feel like Black Widow should be the test to say, we're going to do that. We're going to try it. And if that one doesn't work, then really we have to figure out a different way. So they did say that. It's very interesting. But what we were talking about a few episodes ago is you got WandaVision, right? And then maybe a month, a little less, and then Falcon Winter Soldier. And same thing, that's going to go March, April, and then Loki's in May. They don't need to actually drop, in my opinion, they don't need to drop Black Widow on Disney Plus for free to push subscriptions. They're at 86.6 already, way past their projections. Mandalorian's doing great. WandaVision, I think, will do great. So it's like they don't really have to rush even with Black Widow, even if I don't want them to do this, but even if they wanted to delay it again, they could, because if these shows are coming out and hitting and getting subs, they don't have to worry about it. This Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, that's a very strong back-to-back-to-back lineup of content that will have people talking that look like movie quality things. So I think Premiere Access is going to stick around a lot more than people thought, in my opinion, now that they talked about it multiple times in this whole presentation.
Yeah, they definitely made it a point to, even though we don't know how long ago this presentation was filmed at that point, they definitely made it a point to say in theaters versus not. They did that a number of times throughout this presentation.
At this point, if they were going to do premiere access for Black Widow, they should have done it when they did Mulan. Doing it now, to me, doesn't make any sense. Even in May, I don't think I would. It's by that time, things are still going to be bad, but things should be improving by May. We should start actually seeing improvements enough to justify a movie, a blockbuster the size of an MCU one. I don't know. And I hate to say it, but I honestly think they'll just delay it again. I agree. I used to swear Black Widow is going to probably go premiere access, and I am totally 180'd on that now. I don't think it's going to. I feel like we would have heard something more about it, especially at a day like this, especially after the WB announcements. And I mean, right now, if nothing else, there's probably seeing all the pushback from like every single director involved in those WB, and it is every director I've ever seen anything from hates it. And Disney's probably like, we don't have to piss these people off, so let's not. We are set up. We don't have to do it.
Again, it's like I said this week on Tuesday night, on Wednesday, that they're going to sit back and watch and let WB make the mistakes and learn from it and perfect it.
And I'm still not one of this. I mean, I don't know if I personally think it is a mistake. I love what I love what WB is doing. I think it's awesome. And if Disney did it too, I'd be thrilled. But I'd really only be thrilled at this point if it meant I got to watch Black Widow earlier. If I'm still waiting till May, I mean, we can go till mid-April before deciding if they need to drop it early or drop it online like that.
Clay says the reason he thinks Soul is on Disney Plus for essentially free, whatever, with your subscription and not Premier Access, that's going to push people to Disney Plus. I agree with you, and that's why I think they did it. Then that's just my question of like, I guess like I just don't think Rhea is a seller. I don't think I'm just surprised. Like
I've never heard of it before.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like you would flip flop and be like, I really want to see Soul. So like, yeah, it would get you to. I feel like Rhea would be different as far as people are talking about, people really like it. I'm gonna get Disney Plus, but I just it's a strange move. I am. If I had a gun in my head, I agree with Brent that I don't think they'll do Black Widow that way. I think they will delay it, but it did just catch me off guard how much they talked about it in several times. I think that I agree with Brent, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility yet in case things aren't great come time May. But what about you, Heinz?
See, the option that Disney Plus has, because I'm with Brent, I don't hate Warner Brothers' decision at all, or Warner Media, or whatever you're calling them. I think that, like I said before, industries change, technology advances. This was going to happen eventually, probably 5 years down the road. They didn't handle it really well. They could have. I'm not against them. They should, like, I'm completely against them not talking to directors and that. But honestly, like, some of the directors kind of, I could easily kind of assume what you're going to say, and is exactly what you're saying right now. So I think that's kind of if Denis Villeneuve says, no, WB, don't do this, do you think they're not going to do this? Because no, just stop that stuff. But Disney Plus, what I liked about Warner is United States, because I still got to go to watch that Wonder Woman movie. United States is one of the hardest hit places with COVID. I'm completely fine with Brent and Chris having the option of staying at home and watching the movie instead of going to the theater and chancing something because of, like, just in case. But me, like, I have to go to the theater and watch the movie. Like, I can't. So Disney Plus, I would love for them to do simultaneous release. I hope that we get to that at some point where they do both theatrical but at the very least, I hope that hard hit, if they don't push back Black Widow, I hope that if there's any places that are hard hit with COVID, if they're on an upswing, I hope that they allow them to be able to watch it on the app at the same time. Like, I'm okay. Like, let's say if Canada is doing really well when Black Widow comes out, I'm okay with going to the theater if I have to. But let's say Spain is like ravaged again with cases, I will be completely fine. And I think it's completely fine to allow them to watch the movie at home on their app if they pay for it. So I just think that there's a lot of people kicking their legs about this, but Disney has a big advantage because they're everywhere. They're worldwide. So like, I think that this is like Disney, after all this, I feel like Disney Plus is going to catch Netflix at some point.
They're now projecting that.
Because they have no licensing fees, and that sucks so much out of Netflix every year. That's why they went with original programming. But Disney Plus is going to all these people that says Netflix, like your co-host Brent, like Netflix is king. Oh, there's a king. There's somebody coming for the king, and it's going to happen in the next 2-3 years, in my opinion. That Disney, they're going to be number one.
I saw it later, but Disney did basically project by the end of fiscal year 2024 to be in Netflix's ballpark.
Yeah,
which is definitely possible.
Oh, it could be even quicker than that because they
agree, yeah,
exceeded expectations already from their first projection. So,
and that's just with kind of a few shows: Hamilton, Mandalorian. They haven't even tapped into MCU. Star Wars, they announced fucking 10 shows today, and like even the family stuff, all that, like the Pixar stuff. They're doing a Buzz Lightyear movie. Like,
yes, they are. That's gonna be great.
With Chris Evans.
With Chris Evans tied into like. They haven't even started, and that's it. Like, they have, but it's just like it always just felt like, okay, we got Mando, we have a few.
They're on the warm up.
Exactly, and it's scary.
Marvel is their biggest brand, and it is the biggest media brand for movies and stuff in the world. And they haven't started with that. They are going to get an uptick in subscribers when new MCU shows start, and then you add in all this Star Wars content as well, which is up there. I mean, I don't know where it ranks as far as biggest brands, but it's certainly up there. It is going to be massive.
Top 5, top 3?
At least top 5.
Oh, yeah.
I do think Disney is a little confused on what they want to do, because you got something as massive as Hamilton, and they're giving it away for free. Granted, they had a massive uptick in subscribers. Soul, a Pixar movie. Pixar, all you need to say is Pixar, and people go see it. Doing it for free. But Mulan and this Raya, the $30. They're still they're experimenting. You know, they're like in college. They're feeling themselves out, seeing who they are. But it's
a safer kind of experimentation in college.
Instead of pulling a Warner and quitting.
Warner's
after
going
first
Girls
semester.
Gone Wild.
But I will say this: Warner Brothers, they at least know what they're trying to do. Yep. And I will say this: Warner Brothers, maybe not the directors, but the business side of Warner Brothers is more confident in what they are doing, I think. Now, at the same time, they don't have the same level of content coming to HBO Max that Disney Plus has. So they need to kind of do this extra thing. Adding those movies is a big thing. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have one point to that as well.
Well, one thing I just want to say, because I think it adds to what you're both going to talk about. You know, Sawbone Sanchez says in the chat, don't sleep on Paramount Plus. Well, Paramount Plus has got to fix what's going on at CBS All Access. Yes, they have a lot of potential, but they've got a lot. They're still playing catch up.
CBS All Access is totally a different game though, because they're trying to be an add-on. They were never trying to be one of your main dogs,
and now they're trying.
Yeah, it's too late.
And I put Warner Brothers way ahead of them, Paramount.
Oh yeah.
But I also want to say to the directors and everything, why do you think AT&T acquired Warner Brothers? Because they didn't make smart financial decisions. They were in a bad spot. They got taken over. That's not like obviously 5 years before that, Warner Brothers did not want to merge with AT&T and like basically lose control, essentially lose the final say and everything. So I think that like when you see the directors getting so angry and being like, "Oh, you don't know theatrical experience," the theatrical experience is partly what led Warner Brothers to the place that they were when AT&T took them over. So I mean, you got to make smarter business decisions, and like Brent said, I think AT&T is making smarter business decisions, but I don't know how well they are with the PR and the optics, because that looked pretty bad, and people
it's
riot.
It's the IP that they want to hold on to and try to do better with. I mean, I think PR, I think marketing. You know, we see in the chat, Donald May says, "How can you be confident when you're only showing movies day and date of 2021?" I think that's a bigger question and a lot more loaded than a simple yes or no.
Well, it's one that's 18 movies counting Wonder Woman. I mean, that's not. With Disney Plus, we've got like 3 different things and 3 different ways they've done it, especially if you count Onward that had 2 weeks of VOD before it went to Disney Plus, across like 5 or 6 movies. They've committed to 18 movies of something. Whether or not history is going to judge it as a good move, whether or not I think it's a good move, that shows that they're confident. We'll find out if their confidence will be rewarded.
And to me, what it does is 2 things. One, people, I think, will look at this, the mainstream, and go, wow, all these movies are going to be in theater. I can watch them at home. That's pretty impressive. 2, it gets people in the door. So if people don't know about stuff like The Flight Attendant, if they don't know, hey, I have all these movies on HBO Max, they could get it. And maybe 2022, the Batman goes to theater and things go back to normal. I don't think it will. I agree with many of these guys, but I'm just saying, let's say in a what-if scenario, right? You will still have this great app that has all this content. So I think it's more just getting people in the door to stick around for everything else, because I think we've all thought about this. Like Warner Brothers has a great, illustrious archive, but they just haven't like showed it off great.
Mismanaged.
Completely.
Exactly,
completely
and that's the
botched
thing.
the
I don't get their streaming service till 20. We don't. Me or you don't get the streaming service till 2025.
Well, you don't get it. Maybe. You don't get it. You don't get it, Travis. I maybe have it right now.
Well,
but what I'll talk to you after, Travis.
Do you want to head into Loki, or do you have one?
Yeah. Just my last point is that I think that them having like HBO Now, HBO Go, all this stuff, they rushed it a little bit, but I think just answering Donald's question, it gets people in the door to go, oh, this is HBO Max. And I swear, like, just if they retitle it, they just got to be careful what they retitle it. It's tough to retitle in the middle of a thing. So
you can't retitle your streaming service halfway through. That's like
they're talking
it's not
about
halfway through. It's still early.
So Loki, May.
May 2021 we released it, which was very surprising. I did not see this coming this year, or excuse me, next year.
Same month as Black Widow. That's interesting.
But 3 shows in 6 months, is it?
Yeah.
That's like bravo. Like, this is the one thing I love about Kevin Feige too. Like, he's there, like, people are taking shots, like, oh, Marvel's not doing nothing. He's just sitting in the back building everything to roll right back out. And oh my god, hit play, please.
We are going to start off with a rehash of what happened at Endgame.
And this little beginning of the trailer was great because I remember they announced the Loki show before the end game. It came out, and everyone was like, well, like, what are they going to do? And there was these terrible rumors for me that it was going to be a prequel of the Loki and it's going to be about him as a kid, like leading up to Avengers. Like, oh, I don't want that. But I remember sitting in the theaters and seeing this scene, be like, oh, this is the show. And we've heard so much about the show when we've heard about the ideas, but actually seeing this footage, and this is something on Twitter, I saw lots of like people praising WandaVision. This, I felt most people like were very surprised about how they were excited for this, because I think a lot of people maybe are over Loki, you know, like we've seen him a lot, kind of done that, but I think people were like, this is not what I was expecting. Now, if you're not following like our show, we've talked about how there's some really weird stuff going on in the show potentially, but if you've just went, oh, they're making a Loki show, cool, and you see this is, and the way Kim Feige described this, it is a thriller, a crime thriller, not what I was expecting, especially from the writers of Rick and Morty. It looks like there's some zany stuff in here, but like even this opening, this was like kind of creepy in a sense. Like, and even though he had Owen Wilson jokes,
what a actor.
Shout out to Wedding Crashers, greatest comedy of all time. It was very strange. Like it was like dramatic music. It had like if you've ever seen the movie The Box or like The Game type of feel, like something's going on, but I'm really unsure of it. But our main character's trying to figure it out, and that's what this was, where he's in a new universe. And I think it's just, and
we've got confirmation of the TVA being a part of this show.
What is that for your non-Marvel?
Go ahead, Chris.
Really non-Marvel like comic guy here.
Chris,
I can't say that.
Chris, you want you want to tell him the name? You want to tell him about the time variance?
Yeah, time variance authority. Kind of, I'll put it in your terms, Travis. For remember, what was it? Legends of Tomorrow.
The Time Masters and Legends.
Okay, yeah.
Similar idea.
Yeah, very similar idea. And it looks like possibly we're going to start seeing Council of Loki's.
I swear to God, if there is a Gary type character in this, I will get. If I actually see the actor Gary Green in this, I'll get up and walk out.
He's not in this.
Okay,
I would have already cried myself to sleep over that one. He's not in it.
And then we had before this lots of confirmation of cast. This, like the visual, like this is a fucking Disney Plus show. Go back. Yeah,
that one looked like Black Widow.
That was.
That's the weird thing. Like, why would this be Black Widow? And this is Black Widow, like rocking like it looks like the blonde hair, right? The platinum blonde.
No,
that's red. That's red.
No, okay.
That looks like the Age of Ultron hair.
That looks honestly. That looks like is it kind of the place is kind of like the end of where she jumped off to. Wouldn't
Vormir?
Yeah.
Well, it does, but the hair doesn't match it. But the only thing I'll say about this, because he does have a history with her. I don't think he'd see her unless
But he doesn't. See, that's the thing one thing I'm really curious about with this show in general. Like, we don't have anything. This is just Avengers Loki, Thor 1 and Avengers Loki. Like, no character, no growth in his character.
No, I mean in the Avengers, he had a back and forth. Remember, they kind of had this face off of he was like reading her thoughts, and then the interrogation scene. They had right, and he's like the blood on your ledger.
His mentality. I'm just wondering, like, are they gonna like? It's got to be difficult for him too, because all the character growth that he just got to go back to the way he was playing the character. Any of it. Yeah. So
keep that pause for a second though, Chris. Like both of these. So this is like looking New York, right? Like that's Avengers Tower.
Avengers Tower.
So clearly he's like seeing a different multiverse. Is there a chance that Black Widow is like one of our first, like that's a Black Widow, but not played by Scarlett Johansson? Is that where we're not seeing her face? Because if we're getting into multiverse stuff,
that scene, the next scene looks awful lot like if the Battle of New York didn't go the Avengers way.
Yeah, that's that's a good point.
Very good.
Like I think they stole from the nightmare sequence, Travis.
That's it for me. I'm gone.
But no, like. And what I'll say is like that first shot again, I love the visuals already of this show. It's looking like some Doctor Strange visuals on a streaming service show. And again, they're spending,
we say Inception like.
Well, yeah, they're pulling no punches when it comes to these budgets. And I think that's where they will get people, and people go, oh, why would I just for Marvel shows? It's like I've seen Netflix. I think this is gonna be like a whole new experience of Marvel shows. So and then this is great for Tom. He gets to use the wig.
Maybe like the one other thing. Can you pause for a second, Chris? Maybe that airplane, and maybe he's at the airport for the Civil War scene.
Chris, you want to pause there?
For those that don't know, this is basically him reenacting the DB Cooper heist. Look up DB Cooper. It's a fun history lesson.
Watch the Unsolved Mysteries of that. Is amazing.
I really only know about DB Cooper
Travis.
because
I love that episode.
Prison Break. That's why I know of DB Cooper.
So Sarah said, wouldn't this be an alternate timeline? It is an alternate timeline. So you're completely like when Travis pointed that out and you're pointing that out, this could be a thing where they did lose the battle in New York. Again, another classic Easter egg we're getting of Loki running for president. It's a great comic book series. And this shows how wacky it's going to get. But the one thing we didn't talk about is the short hair there. So again, you guys, hair's a common theme in this. Like these past 2 weeks, now it's Loki with short hair. This is great for. I'm happy for Tom.
Your hair.
He doesn't have to. I'm happy for Tom. He doesn't have to wear a wig. But what we didn't talk about is in that scene, he said, "Brother Hemdell," and he says like, "I'm coming for you" or something like that, or like, "Look out." I can't remember the exact line. So I don't think we're gonna see them, but he's teasing other characters from Asgard, and I think at some point we will get Hemsworth in this show. I don't know if this season, because they didn't say this, but supposedly Loki's already been renewed for season 2 and they're shooting next year.
Yes,
but that's very interesting that he is dropping Thor and Heimdall and says he's coming for them or something like that. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We've seen the Bifrost come down at the as he jumps from the plane, and so.
So what do you guys say? I'll try out those to you. Do you see Chris Hemsworth in this at all?
Oh yeah. Oh
really?
Oh,
okay.
If he's going to be in, I think that if he first of all, he said he's not done with the character, and after losing Iron Man and Captain America, what better way? I would try Thor out whenever it's actually makes sense, and a show about his brother definitely makes sense, and it would also be cool if they interacted with Thor kind of like at this time, because Thor would be under the impression of all the memories he had with the Loki that died by Thanos' hands, and Loki will be like, no, the last 2 times you let me drop off the Bifrost and then you captured me and stopped me from conquering Earth. So they're not exactly like they were at the end of Thor 2 or Thor 3.
Is there a chance he bumps into this universe's Thor though that also doesn't have those memories? And that's what I'm wondering, because is
he even Thor then?
Yeah.
Could he be what was his old oh my God, wasn't he a lawyer?
Donald Blake. He was a doctor. Yeah.
He could be Donald Blake.
What about you, Brent? Are we going to see Hemsworth in the show at all? Because like I said, they're already name dropping him essentially in this trailer.
Hemsworth? No, I don't think we will. Do we know where they filmed this?
No, I don't.
I have not heard anything called out.
Everything about Hemsworth that I have seen for a long time, he's been in Australia.
Yeah.
And so I mean, not that it's impossible. And shoot, by May, they could still film a scene when he's on set for Love and Thunder and drop it in. So I'm not willing to say it's impossible. I really don't think we are going to. I think we will see something that alludes to him. I think we may see an alternate version of him, but the Chris Hemsworth character, I don't think we will in season 1.
Brent, Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
so
it's
they've been on
not
studios.
exactly super easy to get to Australia from there. So
I wonder if they use Chris Hemsworth Thor as he almost is about to meet him, and then something happens that pulls him away, and you build up to that in the future.
Not counting Avengers Endgame flashbacks or previous flashbacks. Let me put that new footage is really what I mean. Let me just be clear on that.
It'd be almost like it's the ghost that he can't ever get to. Like he's trying to go after, he gets close. We may see the shadow. We may see someone we just saw Black Widow behind the back at that point, but not him.
Because when he said I'm coming for you, it still makes it sound like the Loki that wants to take over Asgard, because he is still the villainous Loki, right? So it could be that thing of he might have in his mind that he's going to go and kill his brother Thor. But every time he gets pulled away by the time variance or some other mission, and then eventually we get there one day. But I just found it curious that I thought they were going to not talk about that for a while, but first trailer we get for Loki, he's talking about his brother and he's gonna go see him. I don't think it'll happen, but
I saw you, Travis, you got to leave in a little bit at that point. Do we want to any final thoughts on Loki before we head to What If? Be a good thing for you to end on there.
Just excited because I didn't expect to see or hear anything but Loki, and bam.
Gotcha. All right, so let me set up What If.
And even Travis was talking about this earlier, how they have these 3 shows in 6 months. So what? Loki starts in May, probably end in June. They said What If's going to be in summer.
Yep.
So
summer.
What If's not even that far away. It could be July, August. So even within 8 months, they could have these 4 Marvel shows back to back. Obviously, I don't think this will be as big as these ones, I think, for the mainstream, but I think this is going to be a great add-on. It's going to be kind of some water cooler for people to talk about, like, oh, this was fun. And it's going to be great for family and kids.
It's going to be something to keep people subscribed versus get new subscribers.
Brent, do we know who's confirmed as the voice of the Watcher? I couldn't remember.
Oh, gosh.
Jeffrey Wright.
I'll let you look it up.
It was
Jeffrey Wright.
Yes.
Oh, Jeffrey Wright. Yes.
The new Gordon.
Yeah, I thought his voice was noticeable during the
and this
whole
is a
thing.
trailer I did not get to see very much of.
Gotcha. Well, here we are with Marvel's What If.
So we got the Watcher talking about just space, time, stuff like that, things we all know about, but don't really. And
Street of Stones.
We're seeing a bunch of characters. So we'd seen Chadwick, Black Panther there as Star-Lord. We knew that was confirmed. But this other one they're showing of Doctor Strange was very intriguing.
T'Challa.
Yeah, it's very intriguing, the Doctor Strange one, because they haven't talked about that one yet in the public. And it looks like there's an evil Doctor Strange. I don't know. But we get more scenes here of Captain Britain here. Peggy turning into Captain Britain. And
do we know if
love
Boseman did
this.
the voice for T'Challa?
He does, yes.
Good.
Yeah, it's one of I remember they had talked about that as all on his IMDb too. So it's like it technically his last performance as Black Panther. So this is just going to be such a fun episode though. Like as a concept of T'Challa ending up in space and becoming Star-Lord. Like even him and Yondu. Like this is what I can't wait for the show is to see characters you would never thought interacting in the MCU happening right there. And Yondu and T'Challa is one of them. So, but yeah, this one, like we've talked about these other ones, we got a quick glance there. It showed Loki. And I think they'll probably do the Thor episode. I wonder if that's going to be like if Loki got Mjolnir or if Loki became King of Asgard, something like that.
The Iron Giant.
Steve becomes Iron Man in that universe.
Yeah, like little Steve.
Well, I mean, like that's the Iron Giant. Like,
well, it's like it's the first. If you look at the Iron Man suit for Iron Man 1, I think that's what they're trying to go for, that big silver one. But I love the animation style.
It is a giant, so.
That's true. But yeah, I love all the animation. The style I'm really here for. Yeah, this right here. We got a evil Doctor Strange facing off against regular Doctor Strange. So I don't know. That's gonna be interesting. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, the cool concept always with What If it's just basically you take one thing different, one thing changes, and the butterfly effect. Otherwise, DC Elseworlds, it's a whole change versus just one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait. This one, I think I'm very anticipating. I just think there's lots of potential with this, and I also just like them getting into animation. We've talked about this a lot, Chris, that I want them to do more just all around. That was my only one minor disappointment. I was really hoping they were going to do some sort of Pixar Marvel thing. I'm always waiting, especially when Kevin Feige interrupted Pete Docter. I think it will happen one day, but yeah, I'm very excited for it.
Fanboy Clay, we just finished up watching the trailer for What If.
There you go. Brent, Trass, any thoughts on What If?
I'm just ready for it, ready to see what they do. It does feel a little bit like I hate the word, but like a filler series, but I don't mean it to be as negative sounding. It's just, obviously it's probably not exactly part of like their big story, which is usually the thing, but it's more from that world, more from that with those actors, especially some of those actors whom for one reason or another, we're not going to see reprise their roles anymore. Boseman, Michael Rooker, sign me up.
Elseworld stories, like, sign me up tomorrow.
Fun.
they don't mean anything to the main continuity, but they can be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to Travis, how much time you got left? You're out?
I got a jet.
All right. Tell
Thank you
people
for
where you can
joining,
find you.
Boys, thanks for having me, boys. You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. Drop me a line. We can chat anytime. Do DC Alliance and superhero discussions and the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. Just search that, you'll find it. And as always, thanks, boys. It was great. I can't wait. We have so many good Marvel things the next couple of years.
All right.
Later, guys.
Later.
See you, sir.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen one time before we head to our last trailer, but we've got a lot of still news to do. But feel free to
Well,
talk.
while you do that, I can throw to an ad break because we've not done any of
Oh,
that.
good Lord. Yeah.
We've been bad boys today and all everything. So before we get into our other news, as always, we're ad support network. So you're going to hear some ads. Might be a little loud depending on your podcatcher, but usually we haven't got any complaints. But we always like to be sure this helps support the network and help grow the network. It helps us do this every week. So you're going to get an ad in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. And I also just realized that Travis Hines, has anyone caught up that he has a rhyming tagline? He says, "Drop me a line. We can talk anytime." I never know that until now.
He's been saying that for a long time since he used to be on DC Daily Drop. He used to say that all the time. But he's modified. It was like, "Drop me a line. We can talk DC anytime." He's modified it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know it rhymed, the Dr. Seuss motherfucker. So there we go. So we got Shang-Chi up here now. Production's
And do you
all
notice
done.
his pronunciation? Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, yeah. I this is what I love when we get live action, because then it's like, oh, I've been saying this wrong the entire past 3 years. So great.
But yes, this is our full cast. I'm gonna not even try to pronounce outside of Aquafina and Simulu. These are our main cast for this outstanding work. I love Ronnie Chang. I did not I forgot that he was cast in this.
And they have the Mandarin cast, right? They announced that. Yeah, they announced that a while back ago. So it's interesting that he's on this photo. I don't think that's anything like, oh, speculate. It's interesting. But
well, it's Trevor, so
yeah, that's I still find it, and I'm hoping one day when we get the production interviews with this, that they talk about why it was moved up before Eternals. But yeah, I'm excited to get kind of educated in that world.
Yeah. So, all right, our last trailer is or a sizzle reel of Miss Marvel where we get some kind of cool shots with this.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised, like obviously like there's not too much footage to show here, but I was kind of surprised they showed anything. I didn't think they had to. They only started filming not too long ago, but again, I just think they're showing how excited they are for this character, and they think they know the potential of this character. They saw it happen in comic books. Go watch the Disney Plus 616 episode. We talked about this last 2 weeks ago, but still, it's a great kind of encapsulation of one, women in Marvel, but two, just Miss Marvel in general and her kind of, and Captain Marvel as well too, just them blowing up and becoming such huge big characters in Marvel. And I think for me this was great because they're like them showing this, and when they're about to show this girl getting the role, I was talking about this with Taylor, like imagine this girl, like you're now Miss Marvel, she's been officially confirmed for Captain Marvel 2, her life has just completely changed, and I'm just so happy for her because it's just like that's like a childhood dream. She's about to be a superhero in these like massive big box office productions. But I think that helped, like, because we don't know her, she's a newcomer, but it helps showing her even in real life being emotional or being excited to play this character, because you're already connected to this girl, feeling like, oh man, I'm rooting for her. You know, she's crying in a Zoom call because she got a role. Like, I'm rooting for her and I want this to go well. And yeah, it like I said, all looks good. It's nothing too crazy, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. And I'm excited for where it's going to lead us.
Yeah, one thing in the chat, Donald May says Tommy Luang is the Mandarin.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I knew they cast him because I think they announced that at Comic-Con. I was just surprised he didn't have he wasn't in the photo, but filming's done, so he's clearly in the movie. There's no like recast or anything. But yeah, Brent, did you see anything of the Miss Marvel thing that intrigued you?
Feels like one of those life imitating art things.
Mm-hmm.
In the comics, Miss Marvel is like borderline superhero groupie who's just so excited to be, in part of their world, right? Like just with them. And that's kind of what Iman looked like as she was getting cast there, as they're showing her that she's joining this world now. And as we find out she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2 and stuff. I mean, Ms. Marvel is, I've said this so many times, I really feel like the only character who's relatively new in the world of comics, who's bigger than she is Miles Morales. Like, I don't think there's anybody from any company that matches those two characters, at least as far as DC and Marvel goes. I don't know, maybe like Michonne or someone from Walking Dead, but it really feels like Miles Morales and Ms. Marvel are like the two biggest ones. And one of them is coming, and it's inevitable. We'll see the other one eventually.
And we definitely didn't see, which was interesting. I'm glad, again, they've just started filming the last month or so. I mean, they could have thrown something in there, but I'm glad they didn't just throw in what we could see the power set that she has. I'm glad they didn't put that in this yet.
I guarantee you there's no way that effects wise would be done either, right? Because some poor soul would be like, hey, get this done in 2 weeks. And they're just like working all day. And you're like, but yeah, I agree with you, because I feel like that should be revealed at a bigger trailer that also has like the date attached. Like they show something that gets you really excited for Miss Marvel, and then it's like, boom, it's coming out, October 2021, so I think we will get that. But I think it was just good to, again, this is a new actress. No one knows her. It's good to get affiliated. And I think just even the little bit we've seen, she's going to do great. So.
But yeah, so now we've got a lot of different stuff they threw at us. Like it was just like a boom, 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 boom. So we kind of talked about this, but yeah, Brie Larson is returning as Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel 2, directed by Nia DaCosta. Joining the cast, we said Iman Vellani is confirmed to return as her part, and Monica Rambeau will both be in there. So will we see Monica take on a new moniker?
If Brent was talking about betting on her houses earlier, I would bet my house on that one. Yes.
Were you trying to make a pun there?
He was. He's trying to beat Tim Rooney.
Yeah,
well, I will never be the master.
You got to work hard to be in Rooney's game.
Yes. I'm not even trying.
But yeah, no, we'll see her. She's gonna become a soup.
This next one was, I know it's been hinted, and I was in a little bit of denial that they would do this, but we've got the Sam Jackson confirmation as Nick Fury. Ben Mendelsohn from Captain America returns as Talos in Marvel Studios' original series, Secret Invasion. They are moving this epic storyline to Disney Plus.
Chris, I actually want to hear from you first, because you and I talked about this on our very first episode of Marvel Alliance. We talked about the 6 stories we want adapted. And we had talked about that at that point. We had heard rumblings of Secret Invasion being adapted for TV. And you and I were both like, it's such a big story. What could they do? I still hold by that. I think, yes, the show is called Secret Invasion, but that's going to drip into Captain Marvel 2. And it's going to that's going to be the movie representation of it. But where are you now? Because now we're this is 6 months later. It's official now.
I was surprised that they were doing this. I'll be honest. I'm still on the fence. It's not like I don't trust them to do a good job. Again, I trust Kevin Feige. I know they're gonna do a great job with it. It's gonna be interesting just because of how much in the comics this was a build-up in the moment that this happened. But I've been saying since people had turned against Captain Marvel for many different reasons. I'm not one of them, but saying, oh my God, you turned the Skrulls into good guys. I've said over and over again, just like any society, there are ones on the good side, and I guarantee you there are others in this. I would hope this shows there are other Skrulls that are on the other side of this and are the villains that we are used to, that want to take over Earth.
And our heroes. Like they opposes them and whatnot. I'm just excited because I've said this before, that if Nick Fury is still alive, I want them to do stuff with him. I felt that Age of Ultron maybe should have been a swan song and he should have died, because after that, he wasn't really in the MCU that much other than Captain Marvel. They just I felt like they didn't know what to do with Nick Fury. So to me, it's like, if you've kept him alive, you didn't kill him in Endgame or anything like that, I hope it's for a purpose. And they've shown me that there is a purpose. He has a big role, and him getting his own show, that's exactly what I want. I'm very happy it's no prequel. There might be flashbacks, but for a while there was a rumor it might be a prequel. I didn't want that. Obviously, that's my kind of get-go. Ben Mendelsohn was great as Talos. So this is just like a win all around. The Secret Invasion thing intrigues me. I am wondering how they're going to do, but like I said, my working theory is just Captain Marvel 2 will kind of be that. It's going to be a big crossover movie. I know they haven't confirmed that. They didn't confirm that today, but that's my working theory. That's going to be a big event movie, and that's going to be Secret Invasion. And I'm just happy to see Sam Jackson. He's going to be on a show, and he's going to be kind of in a main role here. Yeah. So
what's your feeling, Brent?
I was pretty surprised at this title. It seems like it's a really big story that they're putting on Disney Plus. At the same time, I like that they're putting a really big story on Disney Plus. Like Feige mentioned, it, Secret Invasion is one of the biggest crossover events from Marvel from the last 10, 20 years. And so I fully expected a movie, and maybe for the Nick Fury show to go into the movie, but that's what I was expecting. So I was surprised by it. At the same time, I'm really curious what they're going to do with it. I'm really curious how they're going to handle it. I love that Talos is going to be a part of it. So sure. I mean, it's not what I expected, but I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah. Then we got what was going to be one of my factor fictions later on, but
Fact.
yeah, now it is confirmed fact. Coming soon to Disney Plus, Dominique Thorne is genius inventor Riri Williams in Ironheart, an original
They
series
already have her
about.
cast.
Yes, yeah, we
It's
got a
crazy.
cast already before at that point, and creator of the most advanced suit of armor since Iron Man. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Riri Williams finally is going to come to beyond the comic. She deserves this light. I've loved the character since she was introduced. Kind of how you all are saying, and I agree with you, Miles, and Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. I think Riri is not at that level yet. This show is going to bring her to that level.
So I'm on the other side of it that I've always said this and I'm sticking to it. I think it's too soon, especially because we haven't even got anything really MCU related other than Spider-Man since Endgame, and we're going to get to it, but there was another show announced that's Iron Man kind of centric. Literally the synopsis is based on Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see. I've read Riri. I like the character. I just still thought this is something like.
Did they say when?
No, they don't. That was what I was going to bring up. We don't know when this is going to be.
I mean, I imagine 2022-ish because all these other ones were 2021. So I would imagine even if it's late 2022, that's what I'm thinking. And I don't know. I have to see, but it's just I that's always been my concern. I know people talk about that with Spider-Man, but that's been my concern. It's like, oh, we don't have Stark, but here you go. Here's another show around him, and then we have this other show coming up, and I don't want the MCU always to feel that, and I don't think they do this, but I don't want people to feel like, oh yeah, they still got to rely on Iron Man. And so I'm excited for it, but I still personally think it's too soon, in my opinion. I think they could have waited a few even phases. They have lots going on. They have a big announcement at the end of this of what's going on. But hey, people like that character. I like the character too, but I mean, like, there's people that are massive fans of it. So I am, of course, open to it. I'm very happy for this actress. That's a big break for her. Clearly, if she's cast, I think it's 2022 because they're working on it. They didn't need to cast as actress. The fact that she's cast, that means you're going to get showrunners next and writers, and then you'll get shooting dates. So it's going to happen a lot sooner than we think, because these shows have happened a lot sooner than we think. Like, look at Moon Knight. It was from like, oh, it might start shooting soon, to like, oh no, we're getting ready to go. So
I think it feels soon right now because we've still only had one movie since Endgame with Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
And but by the time we get there, I mean, we will have had several more movies and at least 3 of the shows, probably more like 5 or 6 of the live action shows, plus What If. Really, I don't know. I don't think it's on the calendar. I think it will look soon. I don't think it'll feel very soon when we actually are counting up the number of projects that are between them.
Yeah, and again, with that character at that point, it's bigger than her just being quote unquote the next
Chris is sounding like Iron Man right now.
It's a lot
He's
deeper.
back.
Someone could say, oh, it's someone that can. It's in comparison to even Miss Marvel at that point. Yeah, you do. It begs that comparison, but it's, again, there's a deeper understanding of who Riri really is, and just taking a chance.
And Clay is completely right. This helps in like the smallest way when he said after COVID, nothing feels soon. And that's 100% right. It feels like this year has been 10 years. So I agree with you in that sense. And Brent and Chris have both made good points. And I think by the time we get to it, it will. It's just always been, because I think for me, this is that, like, even after Endgame, this was rumored. This was one of these that like Daniel RPK or someone like that in that group of people got right. And it was one that's been rumored for almost, I think people are sharing the article, like they put that out like 2 years ago. And again, it could just be scoopers being like, we'll put this out. And, we've heard rumblings, but, and then this is the one they said that it's going to have some, I could be wrong, but I thought they said this is going to have some connection to Secret Invasion, right? Or did they, I thought this was connected in some way. I thought he was saying something like that, Kevin Feige. I'd have to watch
this was brought up right after Secret Invasion Ironheart. So that could have been said. I was trying to type furiously, but that didn't make it.
Yeah, so don't quote me on that. That might not have been the case. I thought he had something like that, but maybe he just said something that I misconfused. But even then, I was kind of surprised if that was intertwined. It's not intertwined with what the next show is. But Chris, what's the next thing we got?
Yeah, the next one is what we'll continue on the Iron Man thing. This Armor Wars. Don Cheadle returns as James
Crazy.
Rorty, aka War Machine, coming back to deal with this is a very classic Iron Man story of his worst fear coming true. What happens when his tech falls into the wrong hands? That was something I always thought was going to be possibly Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. I thought they were going to tackle that story. It never happened, but this is going to be interesting with Rhodey taking on this story at that point. I think this could really work, especially that Tony's gone.
I absolutely, as far as like, I have my hype announcements, as far as my low key announcements, this is one of my most excited ones because I have always said I preferred Terrence Howard's Rhodey. Even though we got one movie, he had a better chemistry with Robert Downey, and I just felt he had more of the character. One thing since he's been recast, he's had some good roles, but I feel like there's never been a movie where he's gotten to be showcased. You know, I think after Endgame, a lot of people turned the corner on Hawkeye and went, "Oh, they really gave him some stuff to chew on." I don't think he's really ever gotten that with scenes and storylines. Don Cheadle is a Academy Award nominated actor. He can go, and that's why I'm excited that this is the spotlight's on him. And I always thought if we saw him again, he would be in the Riri show. I thought he'd be kind of that connection there. But he's leading his own show. I think this is fantastic. I think this is going to be Don Cheadle's, like, to me, my choice as far as like to really put a stamp on the Rhodey character. And I think there's a good chance we'll definitely see Happy Hogan again. I wonder if they knock on Gwyneth Paltrow's door and whatnot. I just feel like you kind of have to, and not being in the show a lot, but just in a scene and a touchstone, even if they keep that a secret, because that is, and I could see somewhere out there, Nathan's probably rolling his eyes, even in death, there's some bad stuff going on because Tony Stark. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was the touchstone of the MCU. This is his best friend, and it makes sense to supplant him in the story. And I'm very excited for this, and I can't wait. And when I actually heard him say the word Armor Wars, I couldn't believe it. As far as this is something we're hearing right now on a Disney investor call, like, this is crazy. I've only read the story like once a long time ago, but it's just this touchstone of like the art and seeing the name as a kid, and it's just like, and it's so comic booky, Armor Wars, but they're just going with it. They're just doing it, and I love it.
And Donald May does say that I believe that's what he was referring to with our question.
Ironheart and Secret Invasion.
Yeah, or Secret Invasion.
This is what's interesting is I thought for sure when they were talking about this, they're going to say, oh, that's also linked. But as of right now, Feige didn't say anything about Armor Wars. So Armor Wars is by itself. So for somehow Secret Invasion and Riri Williams' Ironheart show are linked, that's very intriguing. Because if my theory of them being connected to Captain Marvel 2, that means Ironheart could be over there. I'm not sure. Maybe Secret Invasion is where they introduce Riri and then she spins off to his own show. I'm not sure. We've also heard we're not going to in-depth this, but even Star Wars is doing TV events now. So is it Riri's in Secret Invasion? I don't know. That's very interesting. I did not think those would be linked, and the fact that they are, that's intriguing.
I think this is hilarious. You know how funny I find it when people get so mad that Tony Stark is behind the villain, and now we're getting a whole show to it. I think it's hilarious. And you know what? I think Don Cheadle deserves it. I think he deserves a spotlight. I'm glad to see he's getting it. I'm glad to see the characters getting it. And I am so amused that it's still Tony Stark's fault somehow. I think that's awesome.
I agree. It just definitely screams upcoming, put in the back of our minds for a comic book corner, Armor Wars. So, but yeah, I'm going to jump down to Tatiana Maslany, big surprise, everyone. She's She-Hulk, just to be sure. Despite that denial, we all called it. She was playing Kevin Feige's game at that point. But some bigger news confirming that Mark Ruffalo is joining. But the big surprise, Tim Roth is returning as Abomination. Feige says since Jennifer Walters is a lawyer who specializes specifically in superhero-oriented legal cases, you never know what Marvel characters are going to just pop up episode to episode. Is there a devil in our midst?
Daredevil. Everyone check out the Rob Zombie song, Man Without Fear, he did for Daredevil. Great classic song.
Again,
I listened to yesterday.
I've said it over and over again. I love Tatiana Maslany. Orphan Black, if you haven't watched it, do your homework. It's on Amazon Plus. It is an outstanding show. The fact that she can play all these parts as clones proves that she is one of the most superb actresses out there that you have not heard of, but you will hear of her now. And it's interesting that he said this is going to be, we've heard a while, but he's kind of confirmed this is going to be a funny show. So it's going to lean towards comedy. And She-Hulk as a comic itself wasn't the serious type of standard kind of superhero comic either. So I love it. Each one of these shows has their own direction.
What do you think about that, Brent? So what do you, I heard everyone got excited. Abomination back. What do you think about that?
I loved Abomination. I thought he was awesome. And the Incredible Hulk has always kind of been you're one of us. We're going to count you, but we're just going to barely acknowledge your existence, especially up until Civil War, with Secretary Ross coming around. And I mean, that gave it a little bit of credibility, but it's like they always just kind of forgot about that one. I thought Tim Roth was awesome as Abomination, and he got referenced once or twice on S.H.I.E.L.D., but that was it. Like, we haven't heard anything about him since then. So I think it's great he's coming back. I remember the scene of Roth after like his first injections facing off of the Hulk, but he was still human.
Yeah.
At that time, like in that moment, I thought that's what Captain America should be moving like. And I think it's great. I'm really happy they're bringing it back. Again, I want it to be She-Hulk's thing. It needs to be her show. I don't want it to just be the cameo of the week, but I do think I hope we do see 2 or 3 other Marvel characters. And yes, I think we are going to see Charlie Cox's Daredevil in this. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. I agree. That's where I compare him to the Hulk. I think you're going to see Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
Matt Murdock. I don't know about Daredevil. Yeah. I think we'll see Matt Murdock.
I think there's still a chance we see him, and I think maybe She-Hulk and Daredevil have you remember that episode of Luke Cage where him and Iron Fist teamed up for take down some criminals together?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could see that exact same thing happening here. They could do the animated series, but instead of it being She-Hulk, it's her and Matt and some sort of taking down a certain character. I think Matt, I'm not going to say for sure, but very likely, and Daredevil, I could see an episode. And we had known, like Chris was talking about, the writers, the team they've hired, it's going to be more comedic based. They've been serious about that. They've been kind of straightforward with that. And I think that's good. You kind of have, if it's not for everybody, great, but it's good to have something for everyone. And Tim Roth being back was another kind of low-key hype moment, because I absolutely love Incredible Hulk. It's no longer there, but it was in my top 10 MCU for a while. I think it's very underrated. I also am a big Edward Norton fan, so that's to do with it. But I like Brent refer that scene, but that scene when Blonsky is just taking on the Hulk, he's running up trees. It's just it was so cool. It was this moment. Like I remember, what's his name? Roth was like, he's doing it. That was me in the theater. I was like, he's doing it. And then he just gets that big kick. And Tim Roth is one of the most underrated actors of all time. So this was just got me more excited. Obviously, Bruce Banner is confirmed for it. So all I ask is, I'm not trying to be that person. Like Brent said, don't be that person. But all I do ask is, when are we going to see Betty Ross? Because we are slowly getting those movies reintegrated. And I agree with Brent that Incredible Hulk was the dirty uncle of the group. It's like the guy that
dirty uncle.
He's the uncle that everybody has that shows up to the Christmas party. Yeah. He shows up to the party. He's drunk. He has this story about oh yeah, I almost was into all this money, but something happened. The guy that's in the family photos, he's a part of the family, but everyone's kind of a little embarrassed by him. And that was the Incredible Hulk. And I'm glad that now we got Ross, we got Abomination. I think Betty's could be on the way at some point, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I'm glad. Out of everything, we've got a lot of this was official confirmation. Hey, guess what? Also, Haley is also Kate Bishop. So
that's crazy.
No idea.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
what a good get for Marvel. I can't believe they pulled this off without any of us knowing.
How long was she confirmed? Was this almost a year? She's been confirmed, or at least
in talks. We knew she's been in talks that long.
Yeah, because of the Apple Plus Emily Dickinson show.
Yeah, there was a non-compete clause that apparently they worked out. But
now
Disney and Apple have always had a good relationship, so I'm not surprised they got there.
Yeah, and now we know, because I've been complaining about this on Marvel. We talked about this. They just want to confirm it their own way, So they just can't. They don't want to put in press. They for sure we'll wait till even if the next press release junket like this is months and months away. No, we're gonna wait. We're gonna sit on it because we're Disney. We can do it.
Yep, and like I said, when Deadline reconfirmed our next one we'll talk about with Ant-Man at that point with Jonathan Majors, they brought up Tatiana Maslany, and they never backed away from that, so they're very firm in their sources. So Peyton Reed is back to direct the third Ant-Man film entitled Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, with Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, who was just reconfirmed a few days ago. Catherine Newton joins the cast as Cassie Lang, so we're getting stature, hopefully. And Jonathan Majors has been confirmed as Kang the Conqueror.
another shout out to lots of those little scoopers, but also Justin Kroll, who just scooped a lot of this stuff, got lots of confirmation, so I'm sure he's getting a nice check over there at Deadline.
Continue getting the check.
Exactly, the proof's in the pudding there. Quantumanian, let's go. That's all I gotta say. That is like, I love that Thor: Love and Thunder. We're getting weird, and you know what? We've talked about this. We have to do that with comic movies eventually.
I'll steal your meme. You know what? I dig it.
I dig it. Yeah, I dig it so much. And that's the thing. It's just that let's get weird, and that's where it's like, yeah, is that a weird, kooky title? Yeah, it is. It's a little cheesy, but that's what I love about it. It's right in your face. And the Ant-Man movies can do that. They have heart, they have humor. I'm very excited. I was very bummed that I didn't see Peyton Reed's face somewhere else in this conference, but I'm happy he's back, and I'm happy the whole game.
I wonder if I know where that was, because I was very happy with who I saw there, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
What stuck out to me the most about this, besides the awesome title and thinking about how they just put Quantum in front of everything, Emma Furman. She was Cassie Lang in Avengers Endgame. They recast her.
Yeah, they did. Because I think that actress too, I had just seen in a movie recently, and I guess it makes sense for if they want this character probably to be stature, a bigger role, and they felt maybe that actress wasn't right for at that moment. They maybe just had her penciled in as Scott's daughter, where in the future they had her penciled in as something bigger. Sure, it could be scheduling conflict, something like that, but that's what I kind of think. I think it's kind of that, like when people are mad about, the Ahsoka voice actress, you go after the name, you go after the talent. I think it's kind of like this. This woman's not a name, but I imagine maybe she just fit
an
the
X factor. Definitely had to have an X factor.
The continuity part of me is like, I would prefer it's not, but you know what? Sometimes recasting has got to happen, and it's not like she had a massive role in Endgame. It was her only appearance. It was relatively small, every pun intended.
And you know what? She's here. Deal with it.
Well done, sir. Well done.
And you know what? Sometimes you go to a food, place, a restaurant, you look at the menu and what you want isn't there, and you have to get something else. And it ended up being good anyways. So
I have to say, you got to do better. That was a pretty weak food reference.
What I will do better before you continue is I'll throw to our last ad break as well, because before we just completely forget and do the end of the episode, but you'll get one more. It's coming right now, and we will be right back. And we're back, Chris. We still got some big news. We still got, like, maybe
I'm saving one big one for the end, because y'all know what I'm going to wait for at that point. But we'll come on another stuff we've got confirmed. Academy Award winning actor Christian Bale will join the cast of Thor: Love and Thunder as the villain Gore the God Butcher in theaters May 6, 2022. That has commenced. That starts filming in less than a month.
So this is one of the all times, I believe, Variety Deadline. Ever since Bale's been announced, I've always said, I don't know if this is actually going to happen. I just don't see Bale doing a comic book movie again. I don't see him doing an MCU movie again. And I love the MCU. I think it's a great franchise. But some actors that are kind of his ilk have a certain, maybe Martin Scorsese slant. He wasn't Batman, but I feel like that was like, it's Nolan, we're making art and everything.
Was that your Batman voice?
That was a Bale and Batman again. My Batman voice is much better.
You're just gonna stand in my way now.
But no, Christian Bale, in my opinion, is the greatest actor of all time. Throw away your Marlon Brando, throw away your Daniel Day-Lewis. I think there's no one that's a chameleon better than him. So I've always said this. If this is true, I think it's more he wants to work with Taika than he wants to be with Marvel. Either way, it's a win for us. I just can't believe Christian Bale is going to be in a movie called Thor: Love and Thunder playing Gore the God Butcher. And like, is he going to look like that? Like, there's no way he can actually look like the comic book version. They're going to have to, like, there's no way Bale, like, I'll be shocked if I see Bale on set and he's wearing one of those spandex suits. Like, he just never struck me as one of those type of actors. He's very particular in a certain way, especially if you listen to interviews. He's very, some people might say hoity-toity. I'm not going to say that. Christian Bale is a man crush of mine, and I hope to meet him one day, and I love the man profusely, but he has just a certain reputation and history. So I feel like he can't look like that. Like, and maybe he will. Maybe it'll be this thing where he changes into that, but I feel it's just so comic booky, but I'm thrilled. I can't believe it. It's so crazy that, Michael Keaton went back to, he's playing Batman again. He jumped from MCU back to that. And now Christian Bale's in the MCU, and it's just crazy that Christian Bale's in the MCU movie. I will not believe it and understand it till I'm sitting there in the theater or at home on Disney Plus.
I think we're going to see him in mocap. I don't think we're going to get the exact same portrayal. That's the thing with the MCU. They will take winks and nods. They will take homages. They will take inspirations. At one point, I think he's going to be in a mocap.
I mean, I don't have the same surprise. I mean, the MCU has not exactly been hurting for great talent.
Mm-hmm.
And so you add that, and you add someone as interesting as YTD with his style. I mean, it's a good combination. It's something different. And one thing about Christian Bale is he likes to play lots of different types of characters, right? This is a different type of character. So I'm not that surprised. I'm not that surprised he would be in the movie. I kind of agree that he's going to probably be mostly motion capped. And I'm like, that's a pretty big star with a very recognizable face to hide behind some kind of CGI there. But I mean, the acting will still come through. I mean, we saw it with Josh Brolin. The acting can still not easily, but the acting can absolutely come through.
I in the recent years, Christian Bale, whatever you feel about him, he likes having fun in his parts. I think one of the most recent ones with him being Dick Cheney, he had a lot of fun playing that part. So this is just a different challenge for him. Like you said, it's Taika. He's got some good pedigree, and obviously also Christian Bale's not just going to do a Marvel movie just because, it's the cool thing to do. That's the other thing about Christian Bale. He's not going to do something just because it's the moment kind of thing. So I'm excited. It's Christian Bale. I agree. He's definitely one of my favorite actors. I'm not going to go as far as saying he's the best of all time, but he's definitely in my top list.
And Clay says Ant-Man can be comic booky and weird. Thor can't. No, I don't mean like, to me, it's not like Thor saying, that can't get weird and he can't look like the Butcher. It's just me and more like I try to sit down in the pitch meeting when Bale took that meeting and they show him a picture of the Butcher and they're like, this is your character. This is who we want to play. And just Bale like, all right. I will predict though, because people love getting the Marvel Disney family. This has nothing to do with Marvel, but I do predict that this will lead to Christian Bale being in a Star Wars movie. He has always talked about how much he loved it. There was rumors he was
with the same director.
Well, exactly. That's what I was just going to go to. And the thing is too, that there was rumors because it was scheduling, but he was the first choice for, I can't remember whatever that character Woody Harrelson played in Solo, but he supposedly was the first choice and couldn't do it. Bale's always been a record how much he loves Star Wars. I think this is not saying they made a deal like, to do this, you get this, but I think now he's in that family. You will see Christian Bale in a Star Wars film just because he's wanted it. And now he's in the family now. And I'm for it. I'm whatever he wants to play. I'm down. And apparently he's playing Goro the God Butcher. So great. Cool.
Hey, again, the theme of it, let's continue getting some weird and some silliness. So Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. James Gunn is back to write and direct the original special. The original special is coming to Disney Plus in 2022. It will be filmed alongside Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and everyone's favorite little tree, Baby Groot, will star in a series of shorts on Disney Plus featuring several new and unusual characters. I Am Groot, an original series from Marvel Studios coming to Disney Plus. Yes, all around yes. Give me it.
Yes.
Drop the Fassbender perfection gift, because obviously they give a log line, but Kevin Feige saying, we've always wanted to do some stuff, but we didn't know where to do it. Now at Disney Plus we can. I want like the big WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, but I also want this weird stuff. I want the holiday special. I want the I Am Groot. The Lego holiday special was great. It was a 40-minute just like fun romp of Lego and Star Wars and mashing franchises and eras. We can get to that point. What if it's kind of that more in the serious route, but a Christmas special with that cast and Gunn writing and directing it? Oh my, that's worth my subscription right there. I can't wait. I love those movies. I know everyone trashes on Guardians 2. That to me is like a almost top 5 MCU movie. I love that movie to death so much. I love the cast. I love the crew. Just more goodness. And I'm happy. And it is intriguing to see James Gunn working again, because this is again something that I was wrong. I always was like, I think he'll do Guardians 3 and then he's out, and I could see him being with Warner Brothers. It's funny how much can change in a few weeks with, maybe directors not liking certain things. And then we have this. I'm not saying this was really planned months ago, this Christmas special thing, but maybe I've misjudged James Gunn being out of the complete Disney family. It might just be because, we're doing the movie, but times change and we'll see what happens.
One thing before I jump in, Brent, James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy is his thing. So if they're going to let him go out in his terms, he says, I got another story to tell. Do you mind if I just have some fun with it? Go for it. If it's going to make us money and get us some extra views, have some fun. Let's get weird.
Let's get weird is right. I think this is awesome. A holiday special. I'm not huge on the holiday specials, but I will definitely be checking this one out. And a Baby Groot, a bunch of shorts with Baby Groot, that's something I've wanted for a long time. So, I mean, that's got like little 2 to 3 minute episodes written all over it. And oh man, that's going to be so much fun to see.
Yeah, again, just insert the Star-Lord. I'm going to make some weird shit gif. And, that's exactly what they're going to do. So,
yep. All right. So I'm going to end with our last two. He did talk about Black Panther 2 and again, praising Chadwick Boseman in memoriam and everything he had done. We do have a date for Black Panther 2, July 8th, 2022, and confirming T'Challa will not be recast. The story will continue to focus on the other characters from the first film. Nothing more. That's where he left it. I think that's all Feige needed to say about that. He said just enough to say we're paying respect to the king. I think all of us, everyone hopefully listening, this was the official word we wanted to hear. That way, put it to rest. T'Challa will stay with Chadwick Boseman for the foreseeable future. That is the best decision they could have done.
Total agreement. That was the one thing I didn't want them to do is recast. They're not, and I am very happy about that.
Yeah, I completely agree. We did that episode, Chris. We talked about, I think the route to go is many different characters. And I like that it was just, this is the date Ryan Coogler's working on it. That's it. I was at first a little feeling like icky about it when he gave that tribute, and then he's like, and then there's Black Panther 2. I'm like, if we're getting into like who the villain is, the plot, and they didn't do that, but I was very worried for a second of like, I don't want this. And there's still times I've been clear as far as even Black Panther 2, I'm still finding myself hard to get excited for it. I will when we get there. It's still just like a getting over period, and it's nothing you get over really, but it's just like, it's still weird to be in this sort of reality. So I think it's also just good to kind of just shut down any chatter now, because we've seen that there was those, the first 2 months people were mourning him, didn't want to talk about it, other than a few places that ran headlines that were stupid. But then people started putting on, oh, well, they might do this, and you had like people of presidents and Disney be like, well, we're not going to digitally recreate it. So I think this was smart to finally just come and say, no, there's not going to be recast. We're going to move forward. We're going to honor them. And now there's no chatter about it. And I know, Chris, you're about to get to like the biggest thing right now, right?
Yeah, I will.
The only thing I wanted to shout out, my only major disappointment in this is they had the Blade thing, but nothing new.
That's why I didn't even bring it up.
No, I just want to say I got so excited because that's my most anticipated Marvel movie next to, and I guess series is Moon Knight. But when they're like, and Blade, but more details to come, like, oh, like I just want to know who's directing that so bad. Like I just want to know who they're meeting with. That one's so important to me. So, maybe in the future, but nothing today, Travis.
Nothing today. So, all right, the last one. It's not mutants. No mutants, and I didn't even expect it this one. I thought that was going to be so pie in the sky. I wouldn't even put it under a Cool Ranch prediction. John Watts is directing the new feature film based on Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four. We now have a director. We now have confirmation that is going to be. I know they've talked about it, but we haven't heard about it for a very long time, and so now we've got a director. Like you said, pretty soon, hopefully, we'll start hearing a writer.
So, I have many angles with this one. One, we have it's confirmed to be a film, so that we have talked about that before. Fantastic Four.
Why do we know John Watts?
He's directed Spider-Man Far From Home. He's directed Spider-Man Homecoming. He's directed Clown, which is a really good movie, and Cop Car, which is also a very good movie. But check out Clown. It's this like really independent horror movie where this man starts turning into a monster clown, and it's fantastic. Like, I really like John Watts. I really like these Spider-Man films. It's nothing against him. I just think Peyton Reed with the Ant-Man films, that dynamic of family is just, he perfected it, especially to me in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That was, to me, I watched like, this is Fantastic Four movie. It's fine. It's not happening. I'm happy they're going with someone in their wheelhouse. I know some people have said, oh, it's a boring choice, but it's like, I don't know. They want to get this one right. So they're going to go with somebody they trust and has delivered them $1 billion Spider-Man and good Spider-Man movies. My question is, though, because I haven't subscribed to this theory, but it's funny that, Chris a few nights ago said, they're going to buy Spider-Man. I'm just joking, but Spider-Man was going to be a bigger deal, right? We didn't get that confirmed today. And some people have speculated, again, I say they're wrong, but some people have said, well, the reason they're going so big in this movie, because you know what? This is going to be the last Tom Holland Spider-Man for a while. And this is a saying goodbye to that character. It is interesting that John Watts is now directing Spider-Man 3, and now he's going to go do Fantastic Four. And I would assume if that is a hit, that will be his trilogy or franchise. So what happens with Spider-Man? Maybe it just means, okay, a new director will step up to bat. Or does that actually mean, yeah, Spider-Man is on his way out and John Watts wants something else to do? And not like that, like, hey, Mark, but like they trust him. He trusts them. It's a good working relationship. Here, have Fantastic Four. Make it something that we can be proud of for the first time ever with F4. So I'm not subscribed to that theory yet, but I think that gives a lot more people steam to that fire as far as if they think this is a Spider-Man send-off. If John Watts is going to be busy with F4, what's happening with a potential Spider-Man 4? Because we know we're going to get Spider-Man 4, whether it's MCU or Sony doing it by themselves, we're going to get it. Tom Holland's becoming a bigger star every year. So I found that very intriguing that John Watts is stepping over. So Brent, what do you feel about this?
I would have been very happy if it had been Peyton Reed. It's John Watt. I love Homecoming. I love Far From Home. You know, he's doing Spider-Man, insert home title here, number 3 also. That was my big question too, is what happens with Spider-Man. I remember those reports back year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, during the Marvel Sony divorce, that there was some custody battles over John Watts because Sony wanted him to do Spider-Man. Marvel wanted him to just stay in the MCU. And part of me wondered, is this a way to lock him into the MCU before another round of negotiations really comes to a head? And, you know, you say there's definitely going to be a Spider-Man 4. Yeah, sure. There's more Spider-Man. Is it going to be Tom Holland? I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure these movies fulfill his contract obligations.
Yep.
Because he's got the third solo movie and then another team up. I think that's it. Part of me is kind of hoping the team up movie we see Spider-Man in is actually Fantastic Four. I would love to see him and the Human Torch alongside each other.
The Amazing Bagman.
The Amazing Bagman. That's right. Going way
We're
back
getting
to
closer.
Factor Fiction there. It's possible. It's possible. I love the choice though. And I think it's interesting. This is only the second time that we will have had a director from one franchise jump to another within the MCU. You know, the Russos did it with Captain America and then Avengers. I can't think of anyone else who's done that. And this will be after he's done a trilogy. He's done 3 movies. And again, he's going to be the first to do 3 movies with the same, like in the same franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a safe choice, but I would call it one that Marvel really trusts. They've already trusted him with their single biggest character. And now they're trusting him with one of their biggest gets out of the Fox deal. I'm not going to say their biggest. It's still the X-Men, but yeah. I mean, after 3, let's just be generous and say borderline FF movies, when everybody says the best FF movie is a cartoon named Incredibles, they can't miss this. Like, this is their shot. This is it. It's the one shot they have to actually get a real good Fantastic Four live action movie. And Watts has the track record.
Yeah. And to the point of that, this is a big challenge in the sense of, like, you know, people say, in the sense of like, people say Guardians of the Galaxy, man, how they turned, no one knew who that was. This is the opposite effect. You know, Fantastic Four, say what you want, has, you know, we'll put successful under the Fox banner. We'll put that kind of in quotes. And then we got the disaster that was F4. It's like you said, it shows that John Watts is a proven commodity. They want to lock him in. They trust him with it. He gave them some sort of pitch idea for where he sees this. Again, it's got to pass what Feige has in mind for this. And so if it's past that, and if it's past that idea, this is the one that, like you're all saying, there is no room for error. I'm not saying this has to be the best film of the Marvel franchise, but they have to right the wrongs of the past Fantastic Four. This is the one nut that Marvel has not figured out how to give a good movie to for this. And I think it's a difficult movie because now you've got to say, are we going to do it in the past? Are we going to update it? What are we doing? Where have they been? You know, there's a lot of angles we can go with. We've talked about that on the show.
Well, I think like you both said, but I think this shows, Brent, you make a comparison with Russo's. John Watts is now in this elite Marvel circle of people they trust, of people that they clearly go, you know what, like Russo's, we're gonna give you our biggest film of all time. We're gonna give John Watts maybe one of our biggest challenges of all time, and it's interesting to see what's going to happen because it is like you said, Chris, it's not like Guardians where it's a no-name brand, it's a damaged brand, and that's what's tough about it. It's a brand that people just associate with sucking, which is not what you want. It's not like that's a tough thing to do, but it's nowhere near the stakes. But it reminds me a lot of Force Awakens. I'm not going to get into prequels and this and blah, 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 but I'd say a good portion of people, myself included, did not like those Star Wars prequel and hurt a lot of their love for Star Wars. So Force Awakens, either way, whether you like prequels or whatnot, they had to at least get it to being a good movie that pleased the audience. And that's what this has to be. This has to be their Force Awakens, where people are, tentative about it. I think with the MCU shine, there'll be a lot less people tentative because it's kind of like, well, we've seen what they can do, so they'll probably nail it again. But still, to me, it does show a lot of confidence in Watts, and to me, it shows that Watts is going to be the same way I felt like Gunn was one of their guys until everything kind of blew up. Russo's is that. Same thing. Whedon used to be one of their guys, no longer anymore. That's gone now. So like they want more talent of people they can trust, and Watts is, I imagine too, that if they're just filming Spider-Man now, but again, they've trusted him so far with that, which sounds like it's going to be a massive movie. He can take this. I have no doubts in that, and I don't think I agree with Brad. I don't. For me, it's not even a safe or boring choice. It's just like, oh, and okay, there's other people that have preferred, but I completely see why they're doing it because I will take a good Fantastic Four movie over a bad one any day. And I know John Watts can at least give us that. Will he do a sequel? Could they hand off? Sure. But I trust John Watts, Feige, and team to deliver us something serviceable. Us to walk, I'll be like, they did it justice.
One thing I'll bring up, and they talked about it in Miss Marvel, and this is one thing the MCU prides themselves on, is the theme of family. John Watts has done an outstanding job proving how much family means in Spider-Man in that sense, and how I think it may not be the exact family that you're thinking of, but I think like the MCU is all about family in different ways. This is the epitome of family. This whole thing. How does this family of superpowers get on, and also how do you? They also are. We joke around in the MCU. Everyone has secret identity. Well, this family definitely doesn't have secret identity. They've prided themselves like everyone knows who they are.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he can do.
Hey, congratulations to him because I'm sure and clearly he likes working with Marvel and he likes doing these movies, and this could be a big get for him as well. So it is a big get. I mean, like if he pulls it off, even bigger get. So congrats to John Watts.
I did forget one thing: Moon Knight, action adventure Indiana Jones series.
And
enough said.
Well, and the biggest thing was they for sure 100% double down confirmed that they were doing the multiple personalities. It's not, hey, he's using different identities. He said he's suffering from a disorder. It's about this enclosing on his mind. That's exactly what I want. Is it going to get as wild as the 2016 run? Probably not. But this is a step. This is exactly what I want as a Moon Knight fan. I messaged Chris right away. I'm like, they're doing it because, like I said, they could have easily took the easy route of just he's a badass crime fighter who like is a billionaire. Like they've done that before in Marvel. It's fine, but this shows again to me this is gonna actually make Moon Knight stand out. And yeah, thanks for calling that out because I did forget about that. But it's
no Oscar Isaac confirmation though.
It wasn't confirmed. I thought it was. No. Oh really?
Yeah, did not say it. No confirmation from Feige of it's Oscar Isaac.
Oh, I thought there was a photo of that. I guess there's just so much today, but so I don't like that because that shows they're still in talks. And that's my worry of like everybody else in these reports that were in talks was confirmed today. And if that wasn't, no, I'm not talking the Spider-Man people, but like these other Disney Plus shows. So that's a little disheartening. I hope that gets corrected.
I would not get too worried about it.
I'm going to get worried till I see a poster of that man. That's my choice right there. And I need it to be confirmed, but yeah, at least character wise, they're doing what I want. So I'm very pleased.
So a lot. And to your point, Travis, your worry was we had a lot of stuff that we already knew. We did, but I think Marvel took that and knew the people who'd be watching this were going to be fans at that point. So they gave us a lot of new stuff, trailers included.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. This is just kind of it didn't reach that level of fandom, but it felt like that. I wish in the future they would do stuff like show all their clips and stuff like that. But it shows if they want to, they could pull something off like this. And I think they hit just a home run, a great year, great way to end the year, getting everyone excited for 2021 and further.
I was pretty convinced that the only real footage we would probably see would be WandaVision. I thought maybe there's an outside chance at like a 30-second teaser of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We got both of those. Falcon and Winter Soldier was longer than that, though. And plus Loki, plus What If, plus all these other announcements. I thought they nailed it. They could have done a fandom style event with this for sure. Extended a little bit, but at the same time, once it got to the Marvel section, there was no filler. It was just straight through, hit after hit after hit after hit. And I did definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a DC fandom per se, because it was actually, it is an investors call, but they gave the fans a lot, not just Marvel, Star Wars, animation, the whole idea of their
Disney
streaming
Star
plan.
and Hulu.
Yeah, they even gave international a huge part of the beginning. That was basically their line in the sand saying, hey, we're not only released international, we're going to expand, and this is what we're doing. So yeah, great. They definitely knocked out of the park. Big win. Stock price should rise tomorrow. And I just dropped the mic on that one.
Oh no, they will. No, I've just been rapidly searching the Oscar Isaac thing, but it was all right. I was just trying to hope that it was out there. But yeah, well, thank you, Travis, for joining, and thank you, Brent, as well.
Yes,
this was a fun one. It was
Definitely
a big bonus episode, but we had to do it because just tons of news. And yes, this was lots of fun. As always, you can find me Travis B. Snell. I'm at Geek First I'll be talking about on Geek First. If you want to hear my thoughts on the other stuff, we'll be talking Pixar and Star Wars all over there. That'll be live at some point. And yeah, you can find me here I guess we should have announced the top of the show, Chris, but next week will be our last live episode for 2020, unless something big drops, like if Kevin Feige gets fired from the MCU. Yeah, we'll do an episode about it. But like
drop like negative at that point. I was thinking positive.
But that'll be the last one. And then the Fill the Week's content, what we're going to do is our comic book clubs. They're going to be all put together into one episode. So you can listen to House of X instead of when it being at the end of the show. It'll literally be from issue 1 to the end of that entire run. So that's what we'll do for those last few weeks. There's some content out there. And yeah, like I said, some big drops you'll hear from us. But if not, next week will be our last live episode. And I'll look forward to closing out the year strong. Brent, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Brentak Prime. I'm going to be talking about some of this stuff again in an episode of Marvel Squadcast probably next week, probably early next week. And we will also talk about some of this on Fans Without Borders, and definitely going to dive into some of that Star Wars stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Balaga. You can follow this show on Twitter at Marvel A Podcast. You can email the show at Marvel Alliance Podcast at gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance at GUA Pod Network. Continue to tweet, email, ask us questions, fact or fictions. Tell us about how we're completely wrong and crazy, and tell Travis to do better food puns in the future.
I just did it so you guys wouldn't give me crap of like, oh no, you didn't give me one, so I just had to throw something in there. But it was an exhausting day, lots of hype.
Yes, and your day's not done either, by the way, my friend.
No, I still got another 4-hour podcasting to go. I can't wait.
Yes, you do. And again, thank you so much for being here, Brent, Travis, listeners in the chat, listeners now. You got 2 big episodes this week of Marvel Alliance. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for listening. Thank you, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers.